I apologize, guys. Welcome to this Tuesday. I don't even know what I decided to stream, boys. I decided to stream because there's going to be a juicer interview. There's going to be a juicer interview very soon. A juicer interview. And I kind of want to see what's going to happen. And we're probably going to be doing a video afterwards. So I'm not sure how long this stream is going to be on today. It might be relatively short. Only time will tell, guys. I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. It's no reset time here. There's no reset here. It's still the same crappy affix. It's the same shit affix, dudes. Ay. I want the new affixes, boys. Give me something new. Whoa, where's my chat? I deleted the oh, I didn't have the chat software open. I'm sorry, boys. I missed out on all of it. Hello, Light Flash. Mystery is fun. We might play some Mystery, boys. Hello, Wild Strup. Yo, Sly, how you doing today, man? 7-month subscriber and a gift leader. What a god, dude. 4th, inspiring storming. If not for storming, I would like it. I don't like the storming, man. But anything is gonna, dude. Anything is gonna be better than this week. Let's be completely honest. Yo, Yankovic, how are you today, man? Man is streaming as a good morning. Rock and roll, boys. There's gonna be... I wonder if you can restream the interview with Preach. Can I actually restream the interview? Because I would really like to watch it on stream. And I think afterwards I'll probably be doing like a video or something. But I would like to watch it. Watch it. Let me see something. Did you see how many people? How many people are re-rolling to Holy Paladin? It's nuts, boys. I think I've seen JB re-rolling to Paladin as well. Because he's not getting invited into keys as his Druid, dude. It's fucked, man. It's fucked. It is fucked. It is fucked. It is crazy. Everyone's like basically playing Paladin right now, honestly, at this point. Have you seen the TOP skip? No. Which TOP skip? Which TOP skip, boys? Something illegal? Oof. Illegal skips are my favorite, dudes. Not really though. I don't think there's such a thing as illegal skips because Blizzard doesn't really care about it that much. You should run the Aventia armor set. I kind of did it, but I didn't. It's too dark, dude. I think it's too dark. I think the pink Paladin is the best Paladin. No? I think the pink Paladin is the best Paladin. Spin! Hello, Lilith! I said it right? I'm probably, like I said it before, I've been trying to get my Paladin ready to go as well. But I don't know if we can get last 2 bosses done, but man, tomorrow's weekly chest. I've been even trying to grind Stygia a bit as well. Believe it or not, I've been trying to grind even Stygia to get some like I've been going a bit hardcore on my Paladin, trying to get the item levels ready to go. Dude, Wormhole is the best. Red Pally with the crown. There's a crown? Hello, James. How are you, man? Legion PvP set is my favorite. Which is the Legion PvP set? That is pretty slick. I was running it for a while. I'm bald, dude. I'm bald, man. These ones. I have this. I have that one. I should do transmog farming, if I'm being completely honest. I should do some transmogarinos. Saw a video on BM Hunters. Oh, they do nerf them a bit. Wait, BM Hunters. I haven't done a video on BM Hunters since like BFA. You talking about BFA videos? I haven't done a BM Hunter video since BFA boys, or like the easiest class or something along those lines. Yeah, since BFA. BM Hunters are not overpowered right now. BM Hunters do not need a nerf right now, if you really think about it. There's going to be Preach thing in about 2 hours, I think, in an hour and a half. I really want to watch that, but I don't know if I can restream it. Man. I want to do a video based on it as well. Video star. Do you think the Stygia will be relevant the next patch? Probably, but it's probably gonna need. It's not worth stockpiling anything at this point. Past 6 months or so. Yeah, it's pretty old video. Pretty old video player. Like, the way the Blizzard works is that it's never worth stockpiling anything right now. Yo, dude, Cafodes! That's what I was looking, I was like, what the hell? What is this light, dude? I forgot that I had it on. Cafodes, thank you for the gifters, dude! Let's go, player! Am I actually about to do some dailies here? No, I want to do this area, though. I just want to do this area, that's it. Like I said, I'm getting my Paladin ready to go. Ready to rock and... Wait, where am I going? Can I even go through here? Oh my god, I'm gonna die, dude! Yo, Sly, another 5 gifters! Where did it reach the goal? Well, I'll talk to you later, boys, okay? It was a good stream.
Always entertaining to watch.
It was a good stream, dudes. I'll see you tomorrow, yeah?
Days, please.
Scruffy looking at that for the 6 months, dude. Also need to watch Keep Up. More St. Patrick's Days, please. Oh man, dude, there's my birthday coming down soon. You know what I was thinking about doing for my birthday? I was thinking about doing, because I know it's been like a pretty hot trend lately, on the Twitch with the subathons, where you basically keep streaming as long as there's time left on the counter or something. I was gonna do something like that. I don't know if it's a good idea, but I think, because my birthday is coming up in about 2 or 3 weeks. Let me see. May 12th. 2-ish, 3-ish weeks. So that's gonna be a juicer, man. That's gonna be a juicer, because I'm gonna get drunk. Because I don't think I can visit my family for the birthday, because they're still locked down. So I'm probably gonna do the full birthday stream. Because I don't think I'll be... Wait, Cypher Domination used within the Beast Warrants. Did I use the Cypher Domination? The fuck, mate? What did this happen from? Drunk birthday streams. That's exactly what it's gonna be. A drunk birthday stream. We love the drink. It's great. Jesus Christ, man. This is how bored I am, just to tell you. I'm actually trying to improve my Stygia, dude. This is how bored I am. Just to showcase the boredom levels. Like, this is next fucking level, okay? Whoa, that's a lot of Stygia, dude. That's actually a lot of Stygia. Okay, let's go. Break out the vodka monster on the birthday stream? Yeah, of course. It's my favorite drink. 100%. Rick and Stan, thank you for the tier 1, dude! Oh, dude, that's like without a doubt. And my girlfriend can't even say that I can't do it. Because I'm the boss on my birthday. You understand? I'm the boss on my birthday. 100% vodka. The problem is I can't start off on it too early. So it's something that's gonna eventually get put on. Whiskey is much better. I drink whiskey, but my favorite is vodka. Like, I don't actually like beer, so... I don't actually like beer, that's the thing. George, thank you for the 5 pledgerino, man. I don't like beer, so it's usually when I go out, it's like, I either get cider, but I can't drink too many of cider because cider is so sweet. So I get like Copperberg or something. 1 or 2 Copperbergs is great, I think. But then afterwards, it's like I need to go either on whiskey or vodka because I can't sip on beer, man. It's just not my thing. I was never into beer, like... but I can't do that anymore because I can't go do a birthday stream and just go straight to vodka because that's gonna be the shortest birthday stream ever, dude. It's literally gonna be... it's literally gonna be like, dude, it's over, you know? So if I do that... So I need to start off with something a bit smaller. Maybe I'll get one of those cooler drinks or whatever. What are they called? Like... Wait, where am I supposed to go? Start off with those. Because I can't start off with... And maybe Copperberg. But yeah, dude, the birthday stream is gonna be... I'm gonna do something special for that. Because again, we're gonna be spending it... We're gonna spending it basically all together, man. Because I don't think Ireland is gonna have... I don't think Ireland's gonna have lockdown removed. So I don't think my... Usually my brother would come down and we would go out. Or I would go to my parents with my girlfriend and stuff like that. And we would go... Just get drunk or something. But I don't think... Is this the right place? I don't think they're gonna remove the lockdown by then. I don't think so. Did they even make Caesars where you're from, like Clamanto, Worcester, Vodka, Tabasco? No, I've never heard of that combination, if I'm being honest. White Claw breakfast. White Claw, I've heard it being real popular, but it's not. I don't think White Claw is that popular in Ireland, man. If I'm being honest with you, I don't think I've seen that much of White Claw in Ireland. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not sure. But I've heard White Claw is really nice. I get iced cold tap beer, scallops, and ribeye steak on my day. Oh, dude, I actually could use a nice steak, to be honest. Vodka and orange juice is valid breakfast beverage. Breakfast beverage? Don't tell me you have that for breakfast, man. That's fucking hardcore. But yeah, like tequila 1 hour later stream will be over. I love tequila shots. Holy shit, man. If you're gonna do tequila shots, I love tequila shots. And the whole lime and lemon, lime, salt combo. I love that shit. I don't know I don't know why, but I really, really like it. Like legit, I'm not gonna lie to you. That could be the end of the stream for sure. I much rather do tequila shots than something like vodka shots. I actually don't like vodka. I like drinking vodka by itself with like... I know it's really kind of like, you know, whatever, like with like Red Bull or something. That's what I drink when I go out. I drink vodka and Red Bull because I need energy. So I need the energy drinks. And vodka gets me drunk and I kind of like the taste of it. But if I'm not looking to get drunk, I like whiskey by itself, like a nice whiskey. Like a nice whiskey. I have some really nice Waterford Crystal glasses. I don't know if people know Waterford Crystal. I love that. I bought them. Like my girlfriend's mother bought them for us because we live kind of close to Waterford Crystal factory. Oh my god, he's dancing me, dude. He does it. So we went on the Waterford Crystal tour. I don't know if people know about it. It's relatively famous, but I don't know if it's international. Is Waterford Crystal international brand? I don't know. But I bought some really nice tumblers and glasses for whiskey that I love putting in. It was quite expensive. It's kind of expensive for the glass, dude. Irish coffee won't fall asleep. Yeah, I actually have everything that needs to be for an Irish coffee. But my girlfriend put in way too much Baileys into it. Put way too much Baileys. Baileys is lovely, by the way. Holy shit! I actually never had a proper Baileys drink. I've drank Baileys for a bit, but I actually polished off a whole bottle of Baileys. I don't know when I don't know what was the stream we were doing, but it was on stream. Holy crap! I can drink the whole bottle of Baileys with no issues, man. It's actually crazy. Pulling out the crystal fact. Let's go, dude.
Learn what you can inside the Warrens, mortal.
Complete hunt. Yeah, I need the hunt, man. Anybody can help me with the huntos?
You must.
I need the huntos. Because that's gonna give me a juicer amount. I'm gonna put a gem on my bracers, dude. I'm gonna put a gem on my bracers. It's pretty juicers, dude. If you want to get drunk, you should drink Long Island iced teas. Oh my god, man. I got stories on Long Island iced teas. Holy shit. There used to be a bar that I used to go to in Dublin. It was called Workman's. I think it was Workman's Bar. My friend actually is barred from that place. I don't know why. He did something. I think he attacked a bouncer or something. Remember I told you I told you about the different types of drunk people, and the friend who's a violent drunk person. I think he got banned from that place or something, so we didn't go a couple of times. But I used to go to that place, Workman's Bar, and it was like, it's a relatively small place, but it has multiple floors. This was on the college days. And they used to do Long Island iced tea for like, I think you could get like 3 Long Island iced teas for like 12 euro or some shit. Maybe more, maybe 15 euro. But man, Long Island iced tea is the most fucked up shit ever, because it literally has, Long Island iced tea, correct me if I'm wrong, it has like 3 different types of liquor. It has like whiskey, vodka, shit like that. Like it's literally everything mixed into one. It's literally like everything mixed into one. It's like and the way that they do it, they put in, I think they mix all of that shit, and they put in Coca-Cola on it to make it taste like it literally doesn't taste that strong, or at least in my eyes it doesn't taste that strong. But I remember, dude, like mixing drinks is one of the worst things you can do. And mixing drinks is one of the worst things you can do, and that drink used to just completely annihilate people, man. It's just like a couple of those and it's over, man. Because I think you don't feel it. Like you literally get one, like I remember, man, 1 or 2 and it's over. It was so strong. It was so like, it was actually dangerously. It was actually kind of dangerous, because most of the time I could get like a couple of double vodka Red Bulls and I would not feel double vodka Red Bulls. I'll be fine. But if I get the Long Island iced tea from that place, like 1 or 2, it's over, man. It's like I would actually fully black out. I would, because I would buy 1 more, and 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 it's too late. It's over. Game over, dude. So I think Long Island iced tea is actually really fucking dangerous, dude. I think they're really deceiving. That fucked me up the most. That's the type of drink that fucked me up the most, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think I can think of any drink that really screwed me up more than that. Did that boss just despawn out of nowhere? That boss just despawned. Rum, gin, tequila, vodka, and Cointreau. A Long Island iced tea is a type of alcoholic mixed drink typically made with vodka, tequila, light rum, splash of cola, which gives the drink the same amber hue as iced tea. Oh yeah, for the color. I get it. Yeah. Have you tried absinthe? Yes, I've tried absinthe. It's fucked. I have a bad story about absinthe. Not a bad story, but like, I went to Poland for holidays with the guys. It was like a lads trip. It was fucked up, dude. It was a lads trip. One of the guys basically just abandoned us because he met someone. You don't do that, dude. He fucking abandoned us for like fucking week, dude. For like 2 days. 2 days we didn't see him. He just went off with some girl he found. What the fuck, dude? And he was the guide. He was the Polish guy. He was the Polish guy who's gonna show us around Gdansk. He fucking meets a girl and just fucks off, dude, for 3 days. I'm like, okay. Like, that's fucked. Don't do that. So we were just wandering around Gdansk ourselves, dude. It was like 4 guys or something. And there was an absinthe bar. I've never seen this shit in my life. There was a bar just for absinthe, and they had like gazillion types of different absinthe that I've never seen in my life. There are gazillion different types of absinthe. I'm like, what is this, man? And again, absinthe is one of those drinks. Again, just like Long Island iced tea, absinthe is way more dangerous than Long Island iced tea. Absinthe is just fucked, dude. Like, I'll be honest with you. I think it's there are versions of absinthe that are like, what is it, like almost illegal levels of strength. In some countries they don't even sell them, right? Need to be very careful with that shit. Like, it literally burns your throat. Like it really burns your throat. Like you know when it tastes whiskey for the first time, or haven't drank whiskey in a long time, it might have like a harsh taste in your throat, especially with like certain type of whiskeys. Like, oh man, my throat is burning. Like, absinthe literally burns it off, man. It's insane how certain versions of absinthe are crazy. I don't drink absinthe. I think absinthe is too dangerous. I don't see an appeal in absinthe at all. It's like one of those things where you can take a shot or drink it and then you're fucked, like, out of one drink. Like, I don't like it. I would stay away from it, if I'm being honest with you. I don't see the point of something so potent. I just don't see a point of something so fucking strong. It's too dangerous, especially if you haven't drank in ages. And you're like, oh, I'll just have one shot, and you're fucked. Like, you literally can be gone. Your whole day or your whole night can be ruined, you know? Oh, damn. This is out of the vape liquid, so it's really harsh on my throat as well now. I need to refill it. Didn't they stop putting opium in that? Wait, what? Opium in absinthe? Maybe like back in the day or something. No, they used to have, what is it called? They used to have some crazy shit in Coca-Cola back in the day as well. Can I ask you what text size for your grid 2? It should be 12. Actually, I don't think I can show it during combat, can I? No, I can't show it during combat. Like, they used to put it in. Dude, if you watch some of the shit that used to happen back in the days, and and how they used to treat things, like with, like, what is it? They used to put cocaine in Coca-Cola. They used to have opium in all these drinks because it made them better. And they used to have, like, I always find this hilarious. What is it called? Women hysteria. Like, that used to be a thing. They used to treat doctors as like, oh wait, your wife is nagging you or something. Well, she's got women's hysteria. We can treat that. Just give her a bit of coke. It'll be fine. Like, what the fuck? That's literally what they used to do back in the day, man. I'm like, okay. Because I watch a lot of documentaries about the older. I love watching documentaries about the older times, medical stuff and things like that. I watched a documentary about lobotomies. Like, lobotomies was like so fucked, man. And the doctor who came up with lobotomies as well. It was just crazy. It's like, well, your child is misbehaving and not paying attention in class. Why don't we stick a nice big needle in its eye that's gonna penetrate through the brain, and then we'll see what happens. He might get better, he might not. Well, that sounds like a great idea. I want a lobotomy. Did you know that, what is it? JFK's sister got a lobotomy. JFK's sister got a lobotomy. Grid to like Krav. If you install the full UI folder, it'll by default will show you everything right. You know that. For the Grid 2. But if you just install it by default, but if you just import it, it's going to be different. Whereas it takes down. Font size 12, Hodge XCT, and Sharp 10. Now you're not gonna have Hodge XCT text if you don't have XCT add-on, because this comes from the XCT add-on itself. So it might not have this font. It really depends. Yo, Michelle, how you been, player? What is the content you're doing right now? This is just like daily quest type of thing. It's pretty boring, to be honest. Thank you for running. Nah, dude, I'm just saying, like, but then again, if you don't want the full UI, it's better to just install separate ones. It's kind of unfortunate that Grid 2 doesn't export. Well, actually, it makes sense. They don't export those things because sometimes people don't have those fonts and they don't have those textures. So that's why it doesn't export properly sometimes, and it looks weird. But yeah, you have to tinker with it a bit if you just want the Grid 2, but it should look the same. It should look the same, dude. Drink called green tea. Back when the doctor would say, "Yo, you got ghosts in your blood. You should do cocaine about it." Dude, the old times are just insane. The old times are just insane. Like, if you watch some of the things, like, if you watch some of the things that used to be like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy how certain things have changed. Bayern used to... Oh, hello, bad example. How are you, man? Bayern used to manufacture heroin as a pain medication. Yeah, I mean, to some extent, they're still doing the same shit. Let's be completely honest. I watched plenty of documentaries about how over-prescribing pain medication in America has led to the biggest opioid epidemic in like the longest time. So when you say that Bayern used to prescribe heroin as a pain medication, the exact same shit is literally happening right now in America. The exact same shit. I watched plenty of documentaries. This is a pretty serious topic. I watched plenty of documentaries about how America is overprescribing shit, and pharmaceutical companies are like super dude, it's actually so fucking corrupt. It's crazy. From everything that I've seen, is like everything that I've seen so far. Everything that I've seen so far leads me to believe that this. I've seen multiple documentaries, I've seen multiple shit about all of this opioid crisis, people getting addicted, people who usually would never get addicted to hardcore drugs, they're getting addicted because they got into an accident, and then they get prescribed like hardcore Oxycontin, or like there is literally like heroin equivalent drugs, pain medication. They go onto that pain medication, and then they're like, "It's time to stop, Jimmy. Your back is not hurting. Your back is fixed." And Jimmy's like, "Well, I'm fucked, dude. I'm fully addicted to this shit." And then they're all like, you know, their lives are ruined. From watching all of these things, documentaries, I've come to a conclusion of one thing. Basically, when watching all this, is that majority or some of the biggest manufacturing of pharmaceutical companies will make educated bets in terms of how much money they're gonna make versus how much money they're gonna have to pay out in lawsuits. So if they're gonna release something, juicer medication, whatever it's gonna be, and they think they're gonna make 5 billion in profit, but then that medication is, God forbid, going to kill people, or going to get them addicted, or going to fuck them up for life, and they're gonna get sued, but those lawsuits are gonna be about 500 million. So all of a sudden, a pharmaceutical company is gonna be like, well, we're gonna make 3 billion in profit, even though hundreds of people or thousands of people are gonna die and sue us, but we're only gonna pay out 500 million in lawsuits. Let's go ahead and do this shit. Like, that's the conclusion they came about in terms of how they approach this. And it's kind of fucked, man, when you really think about it. When you really think about it, it's fucked. But this is this is like based on like loads of these documentaries. So I like, damn, dude, money talks, man. It's insane. I don't know what I'm talking about it though. This is pretty fucked. This is pretty heavy shit, man. What was I even supposed to do? Dude. Yeah. There's some crazy stuff, man. Have you seen Fight Club? That's the job of the main. That's the job of the main character, except for the auto industry. What was the auto? I've seen Fight Club, but I can't remember the job of the main dude. Was it like the insurance claim thing? Was it? It's pretty fucked up, man. I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of crazy stuff out there. People just need to be smart, man. At the end of the day, I think you just need to be really smart about it. And from watching all these documentaries, you just can't really, like, I'll be honest with you, you can't really trust anything, man. Like, especially in the like, I'm not gonna be like one of those things like, oh man, like, you don't trust medicine and stuff like that. But like, I watched a really recent documentary on Netflix. I think it's called Bleeding Edge or Cutting Edge. I think it was only released like yesterday or something, or 2 days ago, and it was basically, the whole idea of it is that anything that's innovative in medicine is, you should really double check everything, because innovation is perceived as the #1 thing in medicine. Yet the main thing of innovation is that it's basically untested. And FDA doesn't test for shit, because if you make a product, it costs a lot to do human trials. So if you make a product that's somewhat similar to a product that's on the market, you can go and have this loophole of saying like, oh hey, I don't need to do human trials because I made a product that's somewhat similar to this product 40 years ago. So hey, give me the license of releasing it. And half the time this shit ends up being like literally really fucking bad. And again, this is the medical device companies. They're just gonna be like, oh hey, we made 2 billion in profit, we're gonna pay out 500 million in lawsuits, worth it. And some people are gonna have really fucked up lives and shit. So just have to be really careful with, especially new things in medicine, and just generally be cautious, you know, do your research type of thing. But I think that's also interesting. I don't know why I'm talking about this, dude. Let's talk about World of Warcraft. Yeah. Oh, dude, do you know if I can restream the Ian interview today? What do you think, boys? Is anyone doing it? Oh, you can restream it. Nice. We can restream it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna restream the shit out of it, boys. No, it's heavy stuff that I'm talking about. It's heavy stuff, man. It's pretty heavy. I just like watching documentaries about this, and I think it's really interesting. I lost a family member to opioid addiction. She's abused the substance, dude. It's like, I've seen how much like it can affect people and stuff like that, dude. It is unfortunate, especially the fact that the people who get addicted to that stuff is like, I've seen multiple interviews with the people who are like, dude, this like 50-year-old middle-aged man or whatever. It's like before the addiction is like, I would say like, dude, I never tried drugs, I would never do it. I really saw drugs as like something that I would never do, and then they get prescribed pain medication, they get fucked from it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what do you do in that case when you get overprescribed drugs that you shouldn't really get? You shouldn't really get fucking like literally heroin for when you break your leg. Like you shouldn't really get that shit, you know what I mean? But the doctors get pushed, and a lot of the times the doctors get money for pushing that shit. And who pushes the stuff to doctors? Those pharmaceutical reps who come into doctors and say, oh hey dude, if you're gonna promote this product and gonna give out to it, you're gonna get some nice bonuses. It's all fucking like, you just like it's just insane, you know? It's just insane. Would you like to enable chat for the stream? Probably not. Not today. I'm gonna do the restreaming. Let's see if we can restream it right now. Let me see. A restream. It says it's ready in an hour. Oh, he's already restreaming it. He's already in here. Okay, let's just see. Let's just see how we can set this up on the stream. Hello, Larry. How are you, man? Purdue. Oh, Purdue is really famous, man. Purdue basically gets put into every single discussion because they were the first ones who said it. Let me see how I'm gonna do this. I mean, this is not too bad, right? I think this is not too bad. I think it's gonna start in an hour. I think it's gonna start in an hour, dude. It's gonna be a big one, man. I'm not gonna lie. This is gonna be a big one. Nah, this is not gonna work. That's not gonna work. That's too much cut off the screen, dude. I think the other one's gonna work, depending on where Ion's gonna be. I think that one's gonna be work. And I don't know how long I'm gonna stream today, because if there's going to be some interesting stuff, I might make a video about this. I might make a video about this, if I'm being honest with you. So it really depends on what we're gonna cover here. So I'm just gonna keep that in the background to see when Ian... It should start at about 30 minutes. It should start in about 30 minutes, man. So it's gonna be juicer. It's gonna be juicer. 26 minutes, I think, starting. New topic. Will again think go to my vault today. I believe you're gonna get a juicer item, dude. I believe in you. I think you're gonna get something real nice. So I assume you're in the busy time while right now looking for other games to stream. Actually, me and Leximouse are streaming games sometimes. Leximouse is streaming on our channel. She might be streaming this weekend. Probably Paladins. Maybe a bit of Outriders, I don't know. I don't think she likes Outriders that much, so I think it might be some Paladins. No sound from it. I'm not gonna turn it. It hasn't started yet. It hasn't started yet, guys. It's gonna start in about 30 minutes. And if we're gonna get some juicer information, like the reason why I didn't do a video today is because I was gonna do a video about gearing. And I was gonna talk about what I like about gearing in 9.1 and what I don't like and things like that. But the reason I didn't do it is because there's possibly going to be some really interesting things revealed in this interview right now. So that's why I didn't stream. So that's why it might be something really juicy. Really juicy. Yeah, boys. What questions do you want to see? What questions do you want to see, guys? Super interesting concept about big fireman. Now that not what I expected, but should be surprised the big combos are popping off here. That's right, boys. It's just I don't usually talk about a lot of stuff like that. I'm very interested in a lot of American politics and things like that. I don't know why, because I think it's fascinating, and the way that the money is working and the lobbying concepts of America. I think the fact that people can lobby in America is like, what the fuck, dude. The whole concept of lobbying, you know, okay, I'm gonna pop off right now again. I think like it's just crazy that you can lobby and just like give these donations to politicians, and then you're like, oh hey dude, I gave you a donation. Why don't you vote for my shit? Like it's just insane. I love how I love how like I actually would like to live in America one day, but I also see how broken America can be in a lot of these things. I'm not saying that Europe is any better in a lot of ways, but I feel like there's blatant like corruption in American politics. It's just like how people even like how do people even stand by that shit? It's just insane. Do you know what I mean? Like what the fuck, dude? Like I think the whole concept of lobbying, like literally, oh hey, there's a guy who wants to go for the government. There's a guy who wants to go to the government, and he's gonna get $2 million to do his campaigns from whatever. It can be anyone. Like big companies like Facebook, literally, I think they're like on the border of $1 billion spent on like lobbying against, you know, privacy and shit like that, so they don't add like, you know, companies like Google and Facebook rely on cookies. Like literally all the concepts of their companies, the whole concept of business model is that you don't own your data and you sell it. Europe is very strict about that shit. Europe is very strict about personal data, and they made multiple things about Facebook and Google. But that's another thing. Again, I'm going off tangents, man. I'm going off tangents. What is about the stream? You want to do a restream? Is it the same as the stream raid, or are you trying to do a stream raid? No, this is going to be a conversation. We're gonna restream a conversation about 9.1. There's going to be a juicer conversation about 9.1. It's gonna be big ones, dude. It's gonna be a juicer, man, because we haven't seen any information on 9.1, if we're being completely honest. Let me see if the sound is good. Let me see how the sound is good. We're gonna turn off the music.
You're the man to get in there to have this kind of conversation, but with PvP stuff. Player housing is like an I don't even think the engine supports it. I think they have to rebuild half of WoW to get player housing in. If I'm being honest with you, can't remember. It's still a 20-year-old game.
What's the sound like?
Patched up and redone a million times. I would love player housing. I would absolutely love player housing. But what we got was the garrison. You know. What we got was the garrison. So, not quite the same as we were all hoping for, I don't think, with player housing. It was the garrison. Ask you about more glyphs.
Alright. Oh shit, why am I clipping? I'm not clipping. It's not started yet. It's still half an hour left, boys. Juicer. What is stream raid versus restream? Can you elaborate? Stream raid? Isn't stream... I don't know what you mean. I think you mean stream raid when someone ends their stream and they raid your channel. When someone ends their stream and they raid your channel, they put all their viewers into that channel. I'm just gonna like literally have their stream on my stream. Because they allow it. Because there's going to be some... there's going to be some big talks revealed today. Hopefully there's going to be some big talks revealed. And Preach himself they're allowed to restream it. We okay to restream this on our own channels, and Mike said yes. Yup. So I would usually not restream someone else's content, man. That's just not something that you should do on the thing. But if they allow it and it's something to do with like community like that, I think it's definitely worth. Nerf, Mistweaver, Holy Pile that needs both. I checked her Twitch channel. I think she needs to work on her lighting. Yeah, actually, she's actually been talking about her lighting, actually, for sure. She's been moving the lamp around, like, on top of the desk and bottom of the desk, trying to find the best space. Yo, Funky Jazz, how are you, man? We're basically going to be... we're waiting for Ian to show up. We're waiting for Ian to show up. Because this is pretty big news, man. I think this is pretty big news. I think this is the first time they're doing anything about 9.1. In terms of some... Do you think there's going to be a release date? Do you think they're gonna do the release date? Actually, you know what? Can I actually put the chat on it? Let me see. I could have chat on the bottom right side. I'm gonna have chat on the bottom right side. I'm gonna add it, boys. Go on, say oopsie daisies. You see, I'm a genius. I'm a genius. We're setting up. We're setting up for the big video. We're setting up for the big video, boys. 20 minutes, boys. Are you ready? Do I start the video? No, Felicity, not this time. Not this time. Or maybe. Patch needs to be done for release date. Why you don't buy some cool pro lighting as a surprise and showing support? Because I don't want to. No, dude, it's like literally I've started streaming like probably a week ago. I don't even know what lights. I offered her to give her my lights, and I think she would do it. I think she's actually gonna take a break. I think Leximas is gonna take a break from her work, so she's gonna be focusing more on streaming. So we'll try and fix our lighting setup a bit more. Just need to order something from Amazon. I'm not even sure if that's. I'm not sure if it's even the lighting. I think the camera is pretty bad, if I'm being honest with you. The camera is like Microsoft Live Pro from like literally 8 years old. So I think it would be more important to start with a better camera and then better lighting. I think camera would be, but then again, I don't know what camera I would buy. But yeah, Lexibus would need better cam and a better light. Oh no, actually, she needs a second monitor even more. I need to get her a second monitor. That's way more important than anything right now. She doesn't have a second monitor because I don't have a cable for it. So I need to buy her a second monitor because she can't. She has to read the chat from like her phone, which is not great. It's not great. So I need, the most important thing is second monitor, then maybe camera, and then lighting. And then I think she will be more inclined to do it. But the second monitor is the big one. I had to read chat from my TV by getting on Twitch from my PS4. She's doing something similar to that. She's checking her phone. She's checking her phone for the chat, which is again not the best way to do it, because you know. Yo, Mitch, how are you today, man? Is she gonna create some goals for dyeing her hair or something? I don't know. I honestly don't know, but she's gonna have more time to stream, so I think she's gonna come up. She has some good ideas. She has some really cool ideas that she could do. I think she just wanted to set up from the start. Like everything, she's using. I set her up with stream labels. No, wait. It's not Streamlabs. It's Stream Elements. I set her up using Stream Elements, and I'm actually surprised how good Stream Elements is. It actually lets you do all. She has like a Fortnite look for her because she used to play. She still plays Fortnite. And I'm actually so surprised, and I set it up with all of the things, man, and it's actually really fucking cool, dude. I'm surprised how Stream Elements, it might actually be better than Streamlabs. Not sure. Can she accept donations to Streamlabs and stuff set up? It's Stream Elements, and she has set up her own PayPal. She has set up her own PayPal, although I think she has like $7 in her PayPal. I think it's that new, dude. Am I restreaming the interview? Yes. I'm waiting 20 minutes until it's gonna start. But basically, it's basically 20 minutes until the juicer starts, boys. 20 minutes until the juicer starts. We're gonna restream it because Mike said he allowed it. Wishing good health, homie. Thank you, Mitch. Single Martha and make it work still with her cell. What a trooper. Won't survive without 2 displays. Yeah, you need, like, that's the most important shit. You need 2 displays. If you wanna stream to some extent, like, man, you need 2 displays. So that's the number one thing right now, by far. 2 displays. No big donations. I mean, she only had 2 streams. I think it's more like it's not about the donation type of thing. It's more about if people are gonna be interested in watching it. It's really hard to start off streaming. It's really fucking hard to start off streaming. Really fucking hard. So just as long as she enjoys it, you know, that's the main important thing. Because if you don't enjoy streaming, you're not gonna do it. You're not gonna do it if you don't enjoy it. Or just use OBS. It is using OBS. It's using OBS. I don't think you understand the concept, pal. Stream Elements uses OBS, but it sets up or gives you layouts for free. It gives you layouts and alerts and donations and raids and trains and all of that for basically for free, which is kind of insane. And it gives you this like browser editor where you can go into this editor and experiment and make it smaller and make it bigger and all of that things, and it can be done within seconds. I remember when I tried to set that shit up back in the day when you didn't have these layouts, you didn't have these packages, and it would take so long. I could literally spend weeks trying to get the borders, trying to get the layouts, probably trying to get the alerts ready and stuff like that. And man, fucking stream elements, you pick a team, and if you like the default team, everything's fucking there in a minute. In a minute. And then you can be like, okay, I want to make the size a little bit smaller, and then you can do it in this like editor screen. And I was like, what the fuck, this is insane. Compared to like when I had to do it, it was like you can spend a week. You can spend a week trying to make it look good, maybe more, and then you have to spend, and then you would have to like, and then you would, most of the time, in order to get the best designs, you would have to pay people to do it, because all the free designs would be really shit. But the stream element designs, like the Fortnite one, dude, there's a llama and all. It's kind of crazy. I was thoroughly impressed, man. I was thoroughly impressed about how the stream elements were integrating it. And then they integrate like merch and all of that, and then the PayPals, which was I was just surprised because I've been on Streamlabs for a long time, and don't get me wrong, Streamlabs is fucking excellent. I was just surprised that Stream Elements is so close, or maybe even better. You know what I mean? That's nice if you just started, but otherwise you could just make it all yourself. Yeah, it just takes a long time. How can I remove the Discord audio from my stream? I only have an audio output device that actually outputs, so I'm not oh my god, dude. The Discord audio from the stream. You want to hear the Discord audio, but you don't want the stream to hear the Discord audio. Yeah, that's way more complicated than you think. Unless they change something new. I have a video on it that is somewhat convoluted. I have a video that is somewhat convoluted where you need to get virtual audio cables and you need to then split them. Dude, it is probably the most complicated thing you can do on stream. This is probably audio splitting is probably the most complicated part of starting stream by a mile. By a mile. The way I'm doing it is I installed virtual audio cable. I set that up as a default device. Then I go into my Discord in my Discord audio settings, and I set that as a default device on one of the audio streams, and then I mute that. And I have a video on it. I think you can actually type in like split Discord audio and stuff like that, and it's gonna come up. It actually got really fucking big. It has like 100 or 200,000 views, but it was one of the first videos I did, and it's kind of convoluted, to be honest. It wasn't the best explanation, but all I'm saying is this. If you thought setting up your OBS, if you thought setting up your bitrate, if you thought setting up your layouts was annoying, get ready to get like really pissed off by the audio thing. By far the hardest part. Maybe they have better ways of doing it now. This was like 3 years ago when I set this up. You would think that they would set up a better way of doing it, but I don't think so. I think generally speaking, audio is the hardest part of setting up a stream. Yo Frank, how are you, man? Can you see conduits on my Paladin? My conduit Paladins are not properly done. I need to get another conduit here for that you get from Council. But I'm using How Discernment. This is my 5-man setup, and this is my raid setup. So that's the difference. Raid, 5 man. I have a video on Paladins. Let me see if Preach is ready. He should be ready soon, no? 15 minutes. I'm speaking Fridge now. I'm just restreaming the. The interview. It's so hard. Mads can't filter
I
out.
think setting up my OnlyFans was more difficult, to be honest. Mind if I link for chat?
Tell me what. Go for it. Let me see your OnlyFans. What's it? I know what you mean. I mean, it was hard to set up my own as well. OnlyFans /Mad Skills.
Do you want to raid her stream time to
Smack the
time?
tad.
What is stream raiding? What do you think?
Stream rate, dude. I think this is like a boomer question or something. Michelle is like, I actually host her. I host her when she streams. Which is basically the same thing. So basically, when I'm not streaming, if someone comes in onto my channel, when I'm not streaming, they're gonna see her stream. Do you know what I mean? They're gonna see her channel, her being live. So that's what I do when she is streaming. But the important thing for Lexi Mouse is to get, what is it called? Affiliate. She needs to get affiliate. So I think to get affiliate on the stream, I can't remember what the rules are. You need to have like 5 concurrent viewers on. You need to have like stream for like 7 days in a row or 7 days in a month. It's pretty easy to achieve some of it, but she needs to get affiliate before she gets the subscribe button. So that's the main goal right now. The main goal for a stream is to get a subscription button. Is it 50 followers? So she's gonna do more of the streaming. Man. I can guarantee you. She's gonna do more of the streaming. So there's the main goals in terms of getting a second monitor, getting a better camera, and getting the affiliate. Getting the affiliate is going to be the number one thing. Yeah, that's gonna be it. That's gonna be it. I mean, I think she averages. Let me see. Do I have the data on her channel? Let me see if I have the data on the channel, because it's weirdly like the Twitch account is linked with my email, because I made it I made her channel like 2 years ago, but I never updated it with anything. So I think I get to see her statistics. I think I get to see her statistics from her streams. Oh no, I don't. I need to link an account. Okay, I don't really get to see, but I think she's averaging more than 5 viewers. So she's on the road, dudes. She's on the road to success. Alexi Mouse is in chat. I told you she's here, dude. Hola! Hola! I just got 100 parts of my rest of Shaman by item level and heroic generals. Totally peaked for me. I just want to say thank you for the education content. I suck ass without it. Dude, 100? Let's fucking go. That's God tier, man. Will she be showing cats on the stream? Yeah, actually the cat tree is on the stream. If not, the cats have a channel. I mean, they should, right? I'm off to a vendor meeting. Have a good day. Good luck to the US viewers on the vault day. Thank you, by example. It's always good to see you, man. My BF is on the same road as well. It's really tough, man. It's really tough from the start. Like, why isn't she a mod? It's kind of true, isn't it? Why aren't I a mod? It's kind of true. Why isn't Leximouse? Leximouse is gonna be. The plan is for Leximouse to become the main streamer of the house. So I become Leximouse manager, and I eat Kinder Pinguis while she streams. I think it's time to. I think it's time to prepare for the stream. It's 7 minutes left. In 7 minutes. It's 7 minutes left. The audio is not here yet because wait.
Oh, surprisingly well after the initial grind. I've left my water. Come back to me, water.
We're getting ready, boys. Maxi King, actually Maxi King. I'll be honest with you, Maxi King. What's happening in 7 minutes? Ian is gonna do an interview with Preach about what's happening in 9.1, and if there's going to be some juicy information, I'm probably gonna have to end this stream. I'm probably gonna have to end the stream and do a video about it. Because I was gonna do a video today, guys. Today was a video day, but I really wanted to see this. What the fuck is this? You going back to Necro and Shaman? Why? We have 5 minutes until the interview, until Ian is gonna come in and say that they nerfed Ashen Hollow and they deleted it. Guaranteed! 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 I think they're deleting Prot Pally since the Radio tournament. No, it's just because Prot Pally is meta. I don't think they're gonna be deleting that, dude. I think they just increased the sound there. That Medusa in the corner. Yeah, what the fuck is this, dude? This is fucking weird as hell, man. I'm not gonna lie. This is a weird compilation of things. Oh, it's from Hades. I never played the game. I heard really good things about it, though. Man, I swear to God, if the stuff that they're gonna cover, if it's gonna be the same as from the Chinese article or the Chinese interview, if it's gonna be the exact same stuff, I'm gonna be really disappointed. 5 minutes. Minutes till it starts. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Is this a game? Is this Pokemon? I think the new Mythic Plus thingy. Let me know what the sound is like. Wait, let me see. Let me see what the sound is like. Wait, let me see. Dude, it's fucking loud AF, man. Do you think the new Mythic IO thing will force players to do high rank keys and if so, how would that change the meta? I don't think it would change the meta a whole lot. I don't think honestly it would change it. Maybe classes like Shadow Priest who have really good single target, they're gonna pop off a bit more. But I think it would be interesting. I think it would make people play tyrannical a bit more.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and good evening. And
hello,
can we
Bridge!
offer a big warm welcome. In fact, I'm going to have to double check something here to make sure it's coming through. You'll apologize to Ian as I modify some stuff here real quick. We are going to be joined by Mr. Ian Hazakostas, who has graciously given us his time to have a chat and talk about all things to do with 9.1 and, of course, the Shadowlands overall. So let's hope we have a good interview. Hi Ian, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good. Always good to be here, Mike. Looking forward to another fun conversation.
I'm so happy you called me Mike. Like, it's very awkward when people call me Breach. It's very, very awkward.
I mean, you didn't call me Watcher, so I'm just reciprocating, right?
I've never called you Watcher, ever. I think I got your surname wrong a million times, that's for sure.
What is that breeding?
What I would say is we had over 1,000 question suggestions for today. Like, people were super interested in what we could talk about.
Who's
so
breeding
I've done the
that
best
now?
to try and appease
Is it
as many
me?
people as possible. But as you said during our little pre-chat there, is pleasing everybody in World of Warcraft ain't an easy task.
Someone's breeding, dude.
Yep, even winning is disappointing 99% of your audience. Enjoy.
It is. It is. I did want to talk, first of all, like, 9.0 has been such a long time, like, comparative to other starter patches. But we did have Shadowlands delayed. 9.1, we don't have a release date yet. I just wanted you to talk to that to get us started about any issues you guys have had with development or what's been happening over your side, just to fill us in a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that this is not the ideal release cadence for our content, for our game. You know, I think we would prefer, frankly, to have. I prefer to be sitting here right now talking to you, announcing that, you know, Chains of Domination is coming out in just a couple weeks, and you have a bunch of new raid content to jump into and a new zone to explore and all the rest. But we've definitely been playing catch up a little bit. Lots of challenges just adapting to remote work and dealing with the pandemic as a whole. You know, Shadowlands itself was a monumental effort last year, but that was also finishing a project that was already well underway. Chains of Domination represents the first thing that really will have been done from inception to completion entirely from our homes. That has its own unique set of challenges that we're still working through. Thank everybody for their patience. We have an exciting slate of content planned after this, and I think we're making great progress on that. So I know I've seen some of the prognosticators and maybe even doomsayers wondering, like, is this going to be like Warlords? Is there just one tier? No, we have, there's going to be something epic and mind-blowing up next after this, and that's coming along great. Can't wait to talk about it more later in the year.
Okay, so that's 9.2 stuff, I would imagine.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Well, I will say, I've been testing the 9.1 PTR every day since it came out, hoping for more and more stuff to see what's going on in 9.1. I did want to start off with Korthia because a vast array of people, including myself, a little disappointed with the world content in the base 9.0 Shadowlands, and Korthia is the new zone. The story you've done is incredible. I said this to Josh, actually, I think last week, is that the story stuff you've put into 9.1 is the best I've seen, and I'm not a story guy at all. The zone itself, though, is still really bare bones, as it's supposed to be the City of Secrets. We haven't really seen any of that yet. We've just seen a basic daily quest hub.
Take it easy, Michelle. Have a good one, man.
This represents, is this just the starter, or is there a lot to come, or is this kind of what we should expect?
No, there's a lot more that's still in development that will be dropping onto PTR in the coming weeks. We want to get our PTR up as soon as we're ready to start getting useful feedback on something. And in this case, it's a lot of the story quests, some of the class changes, getting that raid testing loop spun up and working out the kinks there so we can be on track to get feedback on all the bosses. Korthia is going to have a number of other daily quests, rares, zone events, and just a general reward loop that's going to be added to it. Also, playing off the City of Secrets vibe. Some of those are going to be tied into, on a narrative side, learning some of the origins of both the Maw, but also these mysterious progenitors that have been hinted at, the power behind Oribos, the power behind some of the areas that we're seeing in Korthia. And then rewards-wise, I think we're looking to something like Mana Pearls from Najdatar as an inspiration. Minus some of the RNG like benthic gear that ended up
hitting the microphone.
There it is. Thank you.
That's we could probably do without the endless fishing and re-rolling for specific pieces. But we want to do a lot more to give outdoor world oriented players goals to work towards and really more robust gear progression than they've had in Shadowlands at the outset. It felt like kind of covenant sets subsumed a lot of that space, and there's more that we can do there. So what you're seeing is very much a work in progress, and look forward to seeing evolving Korthia feedback in the coming weeks.
Oh, I am, absolutely. And I'm really interested in the gearing stuff. I actually didn't put this down as things for us to talk about, but one thing that's got me super excited in 9.1 is, obviously, we've seen the Sylvanas bow, where you're adding new abilities via weaponry, which has got me excited beyond all recognition. Is that the kind of thing we can expect, or are we expecting procs and things like that?
I mean, every time you defeat a character of the stature of Sylvanas, perhaps. I mean, I think that started out as
is it legal to show other people's streams?
Special for Sylvanas itemization.
The person who's I'm restreaming right now has allowed
actually
this.
Considered, should this be a legendary? Should this be an artifact?
They said on Twitter that they allow
the initial version of it, I believe, was modifying a specific ability in a way that was proving almost impossible to balance.
I think it's a bit
across
dodgy.
specs, let alone covenants. And so part of the thought was like, let's just make this its own thing. And we have the ability, going back to artifacts, to give you a new button when you equip an item. It's not something we see ourselves doing routinely, but it's another fun space to explore where it makes sense with itemization.
Yeah, hunters only then?
Oh yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. Let's talk about Legos for a bit, or legendaries, because we have this really the actual system of creating them is kind of cool. You get to choose your own stats and things like that. Now we're going into the living, breathing Shadowlands experiences. There's obviously some issues being raised now, such as when you guys do these class changes, like you just said, stats and things change on various characters, which means with the current system they would have to rebuild a brand new of the same exact legendary in order to accommodate changes that you guys make. Certainly if you want to have the best ones, and if it's a craftable item, people do want to have their best ones. You did mention in an interview previously about refunding and stuff like that. Have you explored a bit more on that?
That's the same stuff that was covered
we explored
in the Chinese
no,
or the
no
Asian
specific
interview.
plans for 9.1. The way that obtaining, the previously Mega Soul Ash, new Soul Cinders will work is that it just comes from layers 9 and up in Choreghast. and that's going to be needed to upgrade your legendaries past 235. But given the way that Choreghast works, of course, you're also getting the rewards from all the lower layers. So you'll still be getting significant amounts of soul ash. So you don't necessarily have to choose between upgrading your current legendaries or making new ones if that's the path that you want to take. We definitely recognize that this is a pain point and are working on a longer term solution there. It's not just wanting to change the stats on your legendary potentially, but also longer term if you crafted it for one equipment slot, but due to new gear that comes out from the new raid or elsewhere, you decide you want a different slot for your legendary. We want to make that easier to switch, but we don't know that that's going to be doable for Chains of Domination in particular, but we are working on something.
Okay. So I kind of have something similar because we're having the Covenant-specific legendaries coming in, which I assume after what you just said, it will be just craft from fresh.
Let's
do those
go.
things change when you swap Covenants at all? Or will it be if you change from Nightfade to Venthir, for example, you would recraft the Venthir legendary?
You would recraft the Venthir legendary.
Okay. Any update on when we're probably going to get to? A lot of them are designed to be paired up. Is that like a 9.2 things maybe? Because obviously when people have Covenant ones, they would probably like that as well as their class one go alongside it.
Yep, I think that's certainly something that's on the table. Not planning on it for Chains of Domination, but it's a space we're likely to explore towards the end of the expansion.
9.3.
Okay, this is the biggest sore spot I think from the raiders in the community.
Covenants!
Conduit Energy.
Oh,
Do I need
conduits.
to say anything more? What's happening with Conduit Energy? Do you think?
I mean, everyone loves it. That's the feedback we've heard. So we just figure we'll proceed as we are. Yeah, I mean, and the feedback we've heard is not just from raiders, also
Tommy, thank you for the 6 months, dude.
From hardcore arena folks, but particularly people who are active players playing in multiple types of content. And I think our take on Conduit Energy right now is that it's imperfect for sure. The part of the goal of the system as a whole is to situate your soulbind layout, your conduit placement across all of your soulbinds as a bit more of a semi-rigid choice when it comes to friction. You have things that you can swap back and forth all the time, like your talents or your spec, and you have
The
things
Dodge
that are
Master
immutable, like your
continues,
class.
dude.
These are somewhere in the middle. The thing we wanted to avoid was yet another system where the routine behavior for most players is as you're doing your farm clear of the raid, you're switching to AoE conduits for Council of Blood, then Hearthing swapping to single target for Sludgefist, then back to AoE cleave setup for generals, and so forth. And that just becomes an extra layer of, frankly, inconvenience, nuisance, and undermines elements of choice inherent in the system. Now, the flip side of that is, if you feel like there's only one soulbind that is viable for you for multiple specs or multiple types of content, and not just optimal, but viable, where you feel like, you know what, I'm not even going to bother queuing for arena unless I can have this soulbind with the conduits that I need in it active. That's not something our system currently supports as well as it should. Something we're looking to do over the course of the PTR, and this is an area where feedback can help us a lot, is to focus on the soulbinds, the specific soulbinds that may feel mandatory for specific specs. As we're expanding the soulbind system as a whole, adding new rows, adding new traits, gives us a chance to balance the system better without nerfing the ones that are currently good, but giving compelling reasons to use the others. So if you're a druid and you can say, well, I use this soulbind for resto, this other one for balance, you're fine. You can just switch back and forth in the field. It all works. It's when you feel like everything has to go through one specific one that the system does kind of break down. We want to see what we can do over the course of this PTR cycle to improve that situation, though other options like increasing the recharge rate of conduit energy are also on the table.
Okay. I mean, it certainly feels... I understand the goal. The goal feels very clear-cut, but the effects I'm seeing on the player base is they feel punished for enjoying various aspects of their class. Because they do like to play, high-end, or they like to swap around, and they like to do different things. And although the system that you're describing does make sense, is we don't want you to feel the need to keep swapping all the time. So a lot of players do enjoy that. And the players that do enjoy those different aspects just feel unfairly attacked for enjoying the game almost, That's the kind of bitter taste that they feel they're swallowing with systems like Conduit Energy. And is that something that you think is reasonably fixable with the current setup or with your plans?
It's something we're trying to take into account. Like I said earlier, I think we try to draw a distinction between viable and optimal. And I know those are very subjective words that people, for some people, there is no difference. And I think those are the people with whom we're always going to have some disagreement, or there's going to be some gap between our perspectives. If you aren't willing to accept something that is 0.5% suboptimal in exchange for flexibility and branching out across multiple roles or whatever, that's almost impossible to accommodate. But when we're talking about larger gaps, where, like I said, you genuinely feel like you'd be letting your Mythic Plus group down, you'd be letting your Raid group down, you're not really able to perform at the expected level at all, then yeah, we agree. And we don't want to throw up barriers that prevent people from playing the game the way they want. I think that the challenge is where providing the people who, and I get it, there are plenty of people who are just sitting there being like, no, I don't mind at all. I would love to be
I
able
don't
to
see a
optimize my
point in
character in
having
every possible
conduit
way
energy.
for
Like, I
every
really
encounter.
don't. I'll be honest with you.
Stop restricting me. It's, as
I
we said
don't
at
see
the
the
outset,
point in the system,
World of
if I'm
Warcraft
being
design in
honest.
a lot of ways is trying to balance competing interests and play styles, and often we end up making everybody a little bit unhappy. But hopefully there are trade-offs there, as opposed to just picking one side, saying, okay, this is the way the game's going to be played, and then everyone else has to deal with the consequences.
Yeah, it does feel that way, because I know that certainly for PTR testing, a lot of players, including myself, have just been copying over multiple characters to test different specs, because conduit energy just runs out. And all you want to do is try out the new things, right?
Yeah.
That's all you try, and it just feels like, it's unnecessary, I think, is the impression I get from a lot of people.
Yeah, there are other quality of life things that we're looking at just to help with some pain points. Like if you're a new alt or you're switching to a new covenant, I think as you're unlocking things for the first time, we don't want that to feel like a limiting factor. So like as your renown goes up, we feel like we could be restoring your energy, for example, so that that's not a factor you're having to engage with on a regular basis. Really, the goal is simply to make, is to limit the ability to swap back and forth multiple times in a day. Right. And at the course of trying to do different things over the course of a week, we want to accommodate that as much as possible. And that's kind of the space we're trying to navigate here.
Okay. There's certainly a log ahead on that one, I think.
For sure.
We're never going to agree on everything. That's fine. I do want to come to Choreghast then, because of course it's been nicknamed Choreghast and stuff. But I personally am a huge supporter of Choreghast. Like the premise of it is fantastic. We know from the data mining there's lots of changes you're making there. I would absolutely adore to know more about what's happening with Choreghast and what you're doing, because it's the big replayable feature of the Shadowlands, right? What can we expect happening there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in this next PTR build, you should start to see a lot of those. So fundamentally, I think you say Choreghast in passing. I think there's something to that, frankly. It's one of the fundamental problems with Choreghast, as the team sees it, is that last fall, we made a bunch of changes because the original iteration of Choreghast was so binary when it came to success or failure, that going through a full Choreghast run, getting to floor 6, and finding that you couldn't kill the last boss and walking away with nothing to show for it was something that was such a viscerally frustrating experience that it was just kind of a table flip moment for a wide range of players. And the system at the same time was also incentivizing you, like, no, you need to get your Soul Asher, you're falling behind, keep pushing to the highest floor layer that you can do, even if you're not quite geared for it. And across a wide range of the player base, people were just having a miserable time. And that led, because failure was so punishing, what we did in December was we just nerfed the crap out of Choreghast. And it brought things to a point where basically
family friendly
wins. And that's what kind of a chore entails in some sense. It's when you set out knowing, like, okay, I'm going to win. I'm not really that engaged in the choices that I'm making. I'm not really focused on whether I'm playing particularly well or not. Maybe I'm trying to do it as fast as possible, but it's just a thing I need to do, and an outcome is essentially assured. That a lot was lost there. It's better than where we were previously for a bunch of players, where they couldn't do it at all. And we're just like, okay, I'm quitting the game over this. This is miserable. But we want something going forward that actually lets us make it more challenging without being as punishing. And that's the vision for Choreghast going forward. So step 1 was getting rid of the death counter entirely, where, so there's no Tower Grew anymore. The Tower Grew is off in the Sanctum of Domination, soon to be defeated by
death counter
adventurers. And instead, to have more of a granular scoring system. When you go into a Choreghast layer, when you go into layer 9, you'll see some new UI elements. You'll see that you have, long-term a rating. There are these 5 gems or stars, whatever you want to call them, that measure your overall performance on your Torghast run. There's a meter that is measuring your activity. It's kind of like, think of like being on a hot streak in a game like Guitar Hero or whatever, where if you're moving quickly, you're killing stuff, you're getting bonuses and racking up perks as you go. You want to balance. Are you avoiding death? Are you being efficient? Are you exploring the floors? And the more successful you are, the higher your overall rating for your run is going to be. You'll always get your Soul Ash at the end. But unlocking access to the next layer will require performance at a certain level. Similar to Mythic Plus there, right? If you think back and if you think to Mythic Plus, imagine like what Mythic Plus would look like if you leveled up your key, no matter how long it took you to clear the dungeon. That would have led to a place like what Torghast was at the start. Where
you're talking about the degenerate playstyles you were worried about.
Right, where like, I mean, if you can imagine, it's like, okay, you're going to spend 2 hours slogging your way through meticulously, finishing an 18, and then, okay, time to spend 2.5 hours doing the 19. There's value in, having performance matter, but always giving people an experience that's roughly suited to their skill level. You're never going to go into a Torghast run and feel like you leave with nothing. You always have your Soul Ash. And the other piece that we're adding is one of the most traditional elements of roguelike or roguelite games, which is a separate meta progression that is specific to Torghast, sort of a Torghast-specific talent tree.
Yep.
Like
visions for
exactly. In 9.0 at launch,
I don't mind
some
this.
of those things
I honestly
were on
don't mind
Venari,
this.
anything
to make Torghast more interesting, to be honest.
And there was a little bit of a disconnect
so
there between your Torghast gameplay and what you were doing out in the world. Here,
like
if you don't have the most successful Torghast run in the world, you're still going to walk away with some extra tower knowledge that you can spend to unlock everything from power upgrades to convenience perks, like just being able to auto loot things around you in the tower and more to help you on your next run.
Okay. What I'm hearing there, though, is have you made it essentially a speed run? Is that what we're looking at here? Is the defining factor is racing?
No. So specifically, there are multiple ways of getting so our current plan is, I'll call them gems because that's what they look like. We're still working out the exact name. Your final rating is going to be from 1 gem to 5 gems. If you get a 4 or higher, that unlocks the next layer. There's some special achievements and bonuses and stuff for 5. But you can attain a perfect 5 out of 5 score either by being thorough and clean and efficient or by going quickly. You can choose how you want to play. So if you're exploring every level thoroughly, you're doing all the events, you're clearing everything out, and you're doing it at a moderate pace, that's a perfect score. Or if you want to do more of a speed run, cool. We want to let people, play into the strengths of their spec and their own personal playstyle preferences. I know the idea of speedrun gameplay is something that's
anyone who has stealth, they can skip past all of this.
Turn Torghast into, but we also want to reward people who want to play that way. Or, if you're a demon hunter and you want to just rush through the whole thing, cool. Let's let you and reward that.
Okay. I have a few questions off the back of that. Are we putting gear back in? Because originally in the alpha, we did have gear in Torghast. Is that something we're likely to see come back? Because I know there's like experience and things perhaps coming in.
Not currently planned on like standalone gear drops. Obviously, legendaries are acquired through there, and we feel like there are plenty of gear sources already competing against each other, and we'd like to make Torghast a complement to those gear sources rather than something that competes with them directly.
Okay. I play a lot of the games that Torghast was based on, the roguelikes that you're discussing. And right now it just doesn't have the same ability variety to make the replayable experience, something you want to do rather than I'm here because I need Soul Ash, which I think is like the Endless Corridors, for example, ended up being one run that you would probably do to get a mount, which we now know is not even useful in coming to 9.1. Are we expanding that? Obviously, so much feedback. I remember you guys sent us the email after the alpha. That I think I did something like 75,000 Torghast runs were done in total. Something ridiculous. People were enjoying the hell out of it, just because it had new abilities and how crazy it got. And you obviously pulled that back in. Are we going to re-explore that? Alternative routes, extra additional difficulty things you can engage in, anything along those lines that we do see in the normal roguelike world?
I think certainly we're looking to add more powers. There are also extra, more randomized modifiers to the runs that you'll see when you get in there, both some negative, negative kind of
Too
like
much
keystone
time
affixes,
on
sort of,
Choreghast.
but also perks that are known as blessings. So we're looking to add more variability, more variety.
Just delete it.
Our focus in Shards of
Nah.
Domination, in Chains of Domination, though, was revamping the basic scoring system and progression, and then we want to build on this new foundation. We want to make sure the foundation is solid before we continue to evolve over the course of the rest of the expansion.
Okay.
I don't know what's wrong with
I did want to
you.
mention briefly that we don't really know exactly how these things work yet, but we know in the raid there's going to be a new type of gem slot, these Shards of Domination gems. Some of the stuff has been base mined as being extra props.
I'm so tired.
Rightfully so, a lot of the PvP community got in contact saying, is this similar to what we saw in Uldia, where there was like raid-specific stuff, or are these going to be new damaging elements that are going to be active in Mythic Plus and PvP? And if so, do those guys have access to something similar, or is
cool.
raid gear going to just be superior?
This is cool.
So the data mine Shards of Domination stuff is very work in progress. That's not a final design. I think there's a lot of, if something isn't visible on PTR, we're not talking about it. They're often discarded ideas that still remain in our data files. But we are looking at some form of unique bonuses and
Red Mist,
progression
thank you for
within
the
those bonuses
250,
when it comes
dude.
to Sanctum of Domination gear.
Sure,
We've talked about wanting to return to class sets, and we plan to do that in our next adventure after this one. But in the interim, there is something to be said for making sure that for raiders, raid gear is a bit more special for the content that they're doing as
What about
compared
Mythic
to
Plus
Mythic Plus gear
players?
or other places. So
PvPers.
we're looking at ways of adding bonuses to select pieces of gear that you earn from Sanctum of Domination, and leveling up those bonuses by doing the raid itself, and exclusively by doing the raid itself over the course of the tier. Now, some of these bonuses may only work in the raid. The general goal is for them to be far more effective in the raid than outside. There may be some additional power that's added, but that's not terrible in game wide. But that's not terribly different than unique raid trinkets or procs on items or things that are slightly better. Mythic Plus has a bunch of really cool items in that space too. And with the PvP item level system for PvP, we feel confident that that the extra 13 eye levels that you get in PvP content from
13?
Conquest gear will
I thought
keep
it's
that
7.
gear the all-around best for that type of content. We're trying to get to a space where there's a wide variety of gear available at endgame, but if you are a raider, you're primarily interested in the raid gear and complementing it with other sources. If you're a PvPer, you're primarily interested in the PvP gear and complementing it with a couple of other sources. And that's kind of how you're proceeding.
This is the questions that really
I can't avoid this now. What do you mean by class sets exactly?
I mean, good old. Hey, it's a raid zone. There's a rogue set. There's a warrior set. There's a mage set. Thematic.
Do they carry any bonuses?
I mean, that's presumably part of sets.
I mean,
I think
that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll take that. I want to move on to some bigger topics with you while I've got you.
Sure.
So the last time we spoke, we had some big conversations, and obviously your time is limited. But now we've seen the metrics on how the Covenant's played out. Are you surprised by how players made their choice versus what you hoped would happen? And just what is the internal feeling now if you're going to go further in this direction with people making these kinds of choices? Or have you changed your mind based on what the player base actually did?
I mean, really, our goal was for everyone to be a Night Fae, so we think that things are proceeding wonderfully, and eventually we'll achieve our goal of fairy dominance by the end of the expansion.
Well, the warlocks are there. 98% of them are Night Fae.
There's ongoing balance there, and 9-1 is also a chance to do some of that. Overall, though, I would say we're really happy with the Covenant system as an expression of Shadowlands, as an expression of the identity of Shadowlands, these 4 distinct realms, narrative paths, and as much headache as it's caused, I know, to portions of the high-end community, we've heard a wide range of feedback, very positive feedback about the feeling, the choice, about the feeling of identification with the Covenant, particularly across alts. It's something that largely, if I could go back in time a year, we would proceed down the same path.
Who the fuck
that's in no way to say
gave
that,
positive feedback on this, dude? Show me who it was.
I think this type of 4-way choice.
Who was it?
The central element of this expansion is something that is of Shadowlands. I think what we will be looking to carry forward, as always, are things like branching narrative paths, the feeling like you can have your own personalized experience as distinct from some of the other players in the game, and ability choosing among different abilities,
I
things like
cannot
that, but in a
disagree
different
more with
form,
this, man.
and certainly not
I
the way
cannot
Covenants were
disagree
presented
more
in
with this,
particular.
dude. Like,
Okay.
I don't
And
know,
how do you
man.
feel, like, especially with 9.1 story, which we've played through, is it seems very much at odds with the Covenant system as a whole. How are you guys sort of dealing with that internally? Is it just kind of a gloss over? I mean, we're all working so closely together now that I don't want to belabor the point, but it doesn't seem to fit into the game at all at this point.
Well, I mean, I think they're still different. They're different groups with different leaders and philosophies. They're working together. I mean, the Covenants were never set up as enemies. The Covenants, I mean, other than the faction of the Necrolords who weren't really who you were joining, and so we're cooperating throughout. And there are still specific elements of the story that a Kyrian player will experience as they go through the chapters that occur in Bastion and otherwise. But this is these 4 paths converging as we take the fight to the jailer. But the people's identity and where they're coming from, where they're drawing their power from, who their closest allies are, those things still stand, and that is consistent with the system as we see it.
Fair enough. I did want to talk about systems of borrowed power. This is kind of a broad subject. It was kind of a recent thing. We brought in Legion.
Fair enough.
And now at this point, systems and the idea of most of the class growth being borrowed power has become kind of a WoW staple in the last couple of expansions. It definitely feels that this is anecdotal from me. Obviously, it's worn a bit thin because we see a lot of things being taken away from us, like we saw with Legion to BFA. Then it returns in some slightly altered form. So we know a lot of the legendaries in the game are just tier set bonuses that we used to have, or they're modified versions of Legion legendaries. And we seem to be going around in this circle of, here's some new stuff, we're going to take it away. Later on, we're going to give it you back. And how do you guys see this long term? Are we going to see next expansion, the Convoke the Spirits legendary, for example?
Yeah, I think that there's certainly, as we saw with the Legion artifacts, there are some things that end up feeling so iconic and so successful that people want to keep them in some form, and we generally find ways to make that happen. On the topic broadly, we agree. This is something we talk about a ton internally when we look at our systems design and the direction we want to take for following expansions. I think looking back to how we ended up here in the first place was, honestly, I would say about 10 years ago. The development team came to the realization that permanent, evergreen, layered expansion of systems, character complexity, abilities just wasn't infinitely sustainable. That if you're giving people 3 new abilities every expansion, if you're adding new professions, you're adding permanent enhancements, at some point the system kind of collapses upon itself. There's homogenization, there is just general ability bloat and complexity that is where things are being added because something has to be added, not because the game needs it. And so that led to us pulling significantly back from that, really from Mists onwards. And what we saw in Warlords was the feeling of like, well,
do you read this?
There's kind of nothing. Like,
you read this?
There were Draenor perks that you got while leveling up, but I don't think those were tremendously exciting. And players didn't feel like
Wolf? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. And there just felt like a significant gap there. And so the idea was, okay, well, if we're not comfortable with permanent, expansions and additions to players' characters, what if we do temporary ones? What if we pull out all the stops? And I think the Legion system was probably the most successful of all of these for a couple of reasons. It was certainly very fantasy forward, but also, frankly, it was new.
Yeah,
people hadn't people hadn't understood where it was headed. People didn't get their Ashbringer and think to themselves, well, wait, what's going to happen 3 years from now? How are they going to fix this? How are they going to move on from this? It was just, no, I'm getting all these cool powers. I am getting stronger, doing awesome things with my weapon, doing awesome things with my class hall. And then we saw at the end of Legion when we had to burn out your artifact because it was literally more than doubling your power and adding a dozen different effects to your character that were not sustainable going forward to people who hadn't even played that expansion. That felt pretty crappy. And so I think looking forward, we want to find a middle ground. I think we want to look. We're discussing ways of getting back to how we can still have that core RPG element of permanent advancement of your character. Of I'm a mage, and I went to the Shadowlands and I overcame these foes and I learned things and I came back as a better mage, not I had this thing while I was there that I left behind that I never get to use again. And we'll have more to talk about how those philosophies express themselves, in the year to come. I think this is not a mid-expansion pivot, but we agree with a lot of the community feedback about the risk of borrowed power just feeling like just a treadmill where you want growth, you want forward movement, you don't want to get something then lose it, then get something new that replaces it, then lose it, and we want to find a way out of that trap.
Well, it feels like you're going in the opposite direction now, right? Because you're now bloated with borrowed power things. In the other, in the same vein as like making all the legendaries, is there's so much stuff now of the 3 expansions that's been given and then taken away. Is that now there's a huge array of things, and there's certainly the problem we had coming into BFA when you started saying, okay, we'll put some of these into the talent trees. Is that but we had both of those originally, so it was a much better combo. I want to talk about the fear you guys expressed, and I remember the discussion that you brought up earlier is that we can't just keep adding new talent rows endlessly. It's just not going to work. And you said you were fearful of how that would look. Would it be a Blade
100
raid by the end of it?
row talent tree?
Like
Bring it
still
on,
having
dude.
that fear, or is that something you're willing to relax
Bring
on?
it on, boys.
To
Look at Path of
add in
Exile,
features
dude.
long-term?
Look at their talent trees.
I think we have. I mean, I think it's we
Let's
answer
go.
both. We absolutely have that fear, but we have to be
Let's
willing to
go,
relax
boys.
it a little bit and engage with that fear to some extent. I think the concern, and I can speak to this firsthand. A dozen years ago, I was a class designer working on classes and trying to come up with, along with doing counter design, trying to come up with, okay, what are the new Death Knight abilities going into Cataclysm? What are the new Rogue abilities going into Cataclysm? And a lot of the time, you had well-rounded classes that didn't have clear things they needed, but just there's an obligation that, okay, we're adding 5 new levels, 10 new levels, we need to give them 3 or 4 new abilities. And those are not necessarily the best design things. You end up with, okay, it's an extra cooldown. That's easy. Everyone's going to like it.
Are you
and
responsible
maybe you're
for Dark Sim?
Perhaps. That's what a
Round of
rare
applause.
case where
Great ability.
a rare case, because when working as both a class designer and encounter designer, I could write a check for my other self to cash because that was a huge burden on encounter design. But hey, if I can sign up for it, no problem.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, and I think the risk is when we're adding stuff because we need to add stuff, rather than we're adding stuff because we have a cool idea, because it's going to make the class, it's going to make the experience more fun. It's going to give them some new way of engaging with group content or whatever else. And so that's the trap we want to avoid. But I don't think the answer is let's do none of it. Let's give you no permanent additions to your character and have everything temporary. I think we need to find a middle ground where, and we've always had borrowed power in some form. I mean, we were talking about set bonuses earlier. The gear and sets were like the original form of that, right? You have these extra things that modify your rotation, that modify the way your character plays. Then you leave them behind and you move on to the next tier and you get something new.
The most interesting thing so far.
It's all about finding a balance.
In this whole
for
thing,
sure. I think we've gone very heavily in the other direction now, right?
Has been the
several systems all
sets for raids and raids getting
definitely
some
something that we see more and more is
raid specific gear
recycling, which obviously
that I've
feels
heard
bad from
so
both
far.
sides. I'm sure you guys would like to be a bit more
Everything
creative
else,
as well,
I think, has
with the stuff that you
somewhat
get
been
to put out there
covered
for the players.
before.
Absolutely, yes. And looking again, we'll have a lot more to share beyond Shadowlands. I think, though, getting back to it, I think we're happy with the Shadowlands ecosystem, the range of how those things interact with each other, the choices players have to make, the depth to the characters. We just want to find a way to carry that forward in a more permanent way, and not have to come up with a brand new system that people will go into in our next expansion already beginning to ask and knowing that it's going to be temporary and that they're going to have to leave it behind.
Okay. When reviewing, like I say, we had over 1,000 questions come in for this, and a big chunk of that was about item levels and power gains and things like that. So I do want to address with you is that the power inflation currently in the Shadowlands is pretty extreme in a very tiny band of item levels. So what we've ended up with is a kind of strange situation where people are reaching, say, 200 item level. A Mythic Raider is just 20 item levels ahead, yet they're doing multiple times more damage, which is doing two things. It's making people feel that this item level 200 gear that they're getting is absolute trash, worst thing ever. And at the same time, we're seeing these raiders who are just, and PvPers as well, who are just skyrocketing and makes a lot of players feel like they just have no chance, even though I'm so close, you know, numerically, I'm 10 item levels behind or whatever. But the inflation this time around per item level has just gone nuts. Is that going to be something that's addressed, or is this going to be something that by the end of the Shadowlands is just going to be extreme?
Actually, so I'm actually interested by the premise of the question, and I disagree a little bit with that.
Mhm.
And I think if players are looking at Mythic Raiders doing, you know, multiple times their damage, frankly, that's a skill issue, right? There, as you yourself very well know, there are vast skill gaps there when it comes to performance. The power budget for our gear hasn't
Did you
changed.
see his eyes, dudes?
One item level is roughly 1%. That's
Fuck?
that's what it was back in Wrath of the Lich King. In Wrath of the Lich King, I don't know, heroic Ice Crown gear was 13 item levels higher than normal Ice Crown gear.
I'm not
anything,
fully disagreeing with
outstanding rate of
the
inflation
statement,
is
but I
dropped
just
slightly.
love how
We
Preach
used to have
reacted
15
to
item
it. It's like,
levels.
huh?
Last expansion, we're down to 13.
I just loved it. I just loved the
And
reaction.
while there is some additional complementary power increase through things like legendaries, conduits, unlocking extra soulbind traits, total power budget of those is smaller than certainly corruption, but even before corruption, like essences plus azurite or your artifact weapon.
Okay.
So yeah, like if you look at someone's stats, if you look at the gear, 226 chest piece should have 26 to 30% more stamina and primary stat than a high level 200 chest piece, and that should be consistent across the rest of the gear.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's what we're seeing happen even with skilled players going from, say, heroic to mythic. It's certainly, I mean, it could be, again, it's a gut feeling looking at it and looking at the numbers. And there may be skill issues there with people playing alts or whatever. But it certainly feels when we're clearing raids that the item level bonus we're getting now is very extreme in terms of the actual output that comes along with it. I've certainly seen, just with those 20 levels, it's same player, same class, nowhere near the potential there, which is expected, obviously, going from, say, normal mode to mythic, but larger than we would normally see. But I will refer to your wisdom on that one for sure.
I mean, I'm interested to dig into it myself too, but I mean, I think that's certainly the intent, and I believe that this. I mean, I'm not looking at the stats right in front of me as I say that, but I believe that is accurate. That amount of gear progression is generally healthy. Like, I think certainly for people who are coming in as alts who just want to get immediately caught up, they don't want to feel far behind their mains, there's a natural desire to want to bridge that gap as quickly as possible. But as you acquire gear over the course of a tier, that's that same feeling that makes it so that, you know, a boss that where you once struggled to meet the enrage timer is something that you confidently steamroll coming back, you know, a month or so later as you moved on to the next challenge. And it lets us not have to make quite as many nerfs or make heavy-handed nerfs.
What is the point of this
a
question?
wider range of skilled groups to
power inflation too big?
Okay. I want to transition that slightly then and talk about that 200 item level to the alt character experience, because obviously when we were I
don't fully understand what
it was the alt
what could be done about that
expansion.
Let me see the alts.
Now again, a little anecdotal, but it's certainly a view that's shared by many, from what I can tell. Is there's this weird process of getting a character ready at cap, getting everything in place, repeating the campaign you've already done. Is certainly if you're playing the same Covenant again, recollecting conduits, legendary recipes, starting to go into Choreghast again. And it mounts up into quite a daunting hill to climb over before you feel a character is quote-unquote ready, because you can jump into stuff, but you'll be missing certain elements. And I know for me, it's been off-putting. I've just capped 12 characters, and I was looking which one I want to do, and just the prospect of doing that without some, especially renown, is to the point where I didn't want to play them. I wonder if that's something shared with you guys about these sort of check boxes you have to deal with fresh characters, or if you're quite happy with how the catch-up system is working right
now. Mixed feelings, I would say. I think we're happy with how the catch-up for something like Renown is working, both for new players and alts. I think, you know, you can switch covenants, you can have a new 60 and just play normally and very rapidly go through the tiers that, you know, obviously took people months to traverse initially. Depending on which ones you're going for, you know, some legendary recipes, obviously it doesn't help if you have different classes, but the legendary recipes are account-wide. I think so. there are areas where we can improve for sure. I think when playing alts, part of the thinking was certainly a good excuse for many people to try out a different covenant. If you're playing through a different covenant's campaign, it's a much fresher experience. If you're replaying the same full campaign that you've already done, that's understandably not something that a lot of people are going to be excited to do multiple times. Choreghast and Soul Ash acquisition as well are something that does not scale as well as it should in terms of multiplying across multiple characters. The thing we want to be wary of at the same time is this always gets back to the dilemma of trying to please different audiences with conflicting goals. I think certainly you and many of the folks listening to this right now probably see alt gearing, alt progression as a means to an end where the end is what they want. They want to queue high-rated arena with their friends. They want to push high keys, and they want to level up a different healer or a different tank to run keys with their friends. They just want to get there as quickly as possible so they can do the end activity.
Yeah.
There are tons and tons of other folks who play alts because they've stalled on their progression on their main, and they want goals to work towards, and they want to, get their item level up. They want to earn new powers, earn new things. Then when they get to that similar point where they have to go into, more organized content to continue progressing, they switch to a new character. And so if we're completely shortcutting that and removing the progression for alts at an account-wide level, we're actually potentially destroying a fairly significant playstyle for a different group of folks. And again, I know that a lot of people are probably listening to this and being like,
what?
He's out of touch and crazy. No one enjoys that. I promise you there are plenty of people who are all about the journey. And if we just say, no, there's no journey anymore, you just skip to the end, that would do them a significant disservice. And so that's what we're trying to juggle here.
Yeah, I know in terms of skips, the ones that I need to specifically mention because it was asked a million times. More skip for the start, obviously replaying the intro. Mm-hmm. And as you just said, if it's an option to skip the Covenant campaign if you've already done it to get the soul binds unlocked. Those are the kind of... they're not long either. I don't want to come across as this is a massive inconvenience. It's really not. It's just very tedious and very uninteresting to replay that story. Because the stories are very good, but doing it again and again, that's the problem.
I agree. That's something that I'll definitely take back to the team to discuss. It's the same way we have the Threads of Fate mode that lets you open-endedly, get from 50 to 60 rather than playing through the exact same linear content again. We know that, narrative content is a centerpiece of the game, but playing through the exact same piece of narrative content multiple times is something we want to avoid forcing you to do. It should be an option if you want to, but not something you have to.
Okay. I want to move on to some nerdy questions now, but it's become more widespread, of course, with the MDI being available and all the things people are seeing there. Congratulations to Echo, by the way. And healer DPS, because this has been going on for a few years now.
Whoa!
Is the discrepancy has become so
healer
large
DPS?
That
let's fucking go!
If you bring those high DPS healers, your raid is just so significantly easier because it's like you're bringing extra DPS characters as well. It's like you're playing with more than 20 men, What is the situation internally with that? In terms of, more to the point, there's some. I know several people who've quit because they're like Resto Druids because they're just not able. They just feel like a waste of time compared to these other characters.
Other characters.
What?
Yeah,
this is
what are we talking about?
Something that we're discussing. Solutions can be easier said than done without gutting specs or existing playstyles in the middle of a tier or in the middle of an expansion. But I think both Holy Paladin and Disc Priest are obviously discussed a lot, and the big factor is healer. It's not just healer DPS; it's free healer DPS. Effectively, I think being able to trade off between damage done and throughput is interesting. We obviously want people to be able to solo as healers, do things like Choreghast as healers if they want, and in situations where there isn't significant HPS needed, doing damage is a way that you contribute, and that's a mark of a skilled player. I think the tricky part is when your optimal healing throughput also gives you a bunch of damage. Disc was designed around that, and the trick there on our end is, and been more or less successful at this at times, often less successful, dialing in Disc throughput so that they are useful, often invaluable, but not all around the best without weaknesses. When they are topping healing meters and also contributing the damage they do, that's a big problem. Things like reining in Spirit Shell and the rest of their kit is trying to move a little bit in that direction, both in 905 and 9.1, where a Holy Priest should give more overall throughput consistently. But when you bring a Disc Priest, well, their absorbs can be like truly irreplaceable if they let you survive mechanics that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. And then, of course, their damage is their damage, while still giving them enough throughput to be able to manage a dungeon or other content if they need to. Holy Paladin is a bit of a different case, where I think they are a larger problem. Some of that is, some of it's Ashen Verdict stuff, but I think it's also that one of many playstyle that is one of many has become kind of the default and the highest throughput playstyle. Having the option to spend the fight in melee range, spending a third of your GCDs on like Crusader Strike and Judgment, that should be an option for a Holy Paladin. But the fact that it's the best way to play a Holy Paladin, I think, is not ideal. And if you had to trade off healing throughput to do that damage, that would be a better space for the spec as a whole. And again, none of this is about...
Are they talking about ranged?
Making Holy bad or nerfing them as healers. It's having them make more of the same choices that other healers have to make when it comes to damage or healing.
Are they talking about ranged Holy Paladin?
Free damage as I'm healing.
Dude!
Yeah, it's just something I know has become a much bigger deal.
Dude!
And there are certain classes, like playing Mistweaver, you can talent fully into doing melee healing, yet you feel like you're doing 10 times as much work as a Holy Paladin and getting absolutely nothing for it, while weaving in procs and things like that. And those guys just feel like, what's the point? If I'm going to have to compete against this level of thing.
Yeah, agreed. Right. And I think we've seen it become more and more prominent because I think community sophistication continues to improve and people, value this more and more. I think the mark of a good healer of other specs is weaving in damage when you have empty GCDs. It's not just about your HPS, it's about what damage you can do. And so the couple of specs that excel in both regards are rightly, considered as such. It's something we need to make adjustments for.
Okay. Another big concern that I had from the Raider friends was obviously the effect of raid cooldowns, individual buffs. This covers a lot around here.
Massive.
PI,
what the fuck?
Especially from the melee friends out there who look at the very limited raid spots they get amongst all those specs. Yet when something like AMZ is just as good as it is, 2 of those are taken instantly by DKs because they're just making the fight so much easier. And I know there's been some back and forth in previous interviews about we don't want to just give everybody a raid buff. We don't just want to do X and Y, but it's certainly causing frustration, I think is the word we're looking for. I'm wondering what your internal thinking on this is.
AMZ is too good. That's,
oh no! Sorry, Death Knights. I'm so sorry.
I mean, you convinced me. I thought it was fine, but then you stated the case
AMC,
so eloquently.
you said, Mike, was it?
And okay, problem solved. Nerf AMZ. I mean, I was. This is something we talk about a bunch. I think I was watching. I think Max had a video recently on raid comps and melee slots, and he was also making the point of like, there's this finite number of melee slots, which separately we would like to increase, but that's more of an encounter design question. And you're currently allocating half of them to DKs. Having a tool like AMZ is awesome. Having tools like Darkness and other things are awesome. I think AMZ is just
right.
Something like that potentially, yes. And rogues, I think, are lacking actually in raid utility.
Agreed.
And rogues can definitely use something there. I think rogues have it covered in dungeons, but when it comes down to, currently looking at your raid comp, there aren't enough reasons to say, oh no, we can't sit the rogue because blank. Like, what is that blank? There needs to be something. With AMZ, it's just a question of magnitude. Honestly, in most situations, arguably, like AMZ is perhaps better than a major cooldown like Power Word Barrier, right? Most damage is magical, so 20% DR on a 2-minute cooldown versus 25% on a 3-minute cooldown. You probably take the former in a lot of cases.
Yes.
And you can stack them easily. That's not great, right? One of the things we're discussing, we want to make some changes here. One of the things we're discussing is actually bringing back, like AMZ long time ago used to have a total absorption cap, kind of like a stronger version of Earth and Wall Totem. I think there's probably some version where it's still good. It's effectively not nerfed at all for dungeon use, or you're dropping it on a flag in a battleground or whatever. But you're not getting quite the effectiveness that you are using it on Denathrius or Council in a 20+ raid group. And we want it to be useful, but not quite the just amazing all-purpose solution that it is now.
Yeah, I'm so glad I do not have my chat open right now. I know I'm in for it. But I will ask about the ferals as well. It's just more on a personal thing. I absolutely adore playing feral, but it's one of those specs that feels like it needs to be 20 to 30% ahead to even be considered these days as being in there. It's such a hard thing. I don't envy your position here, Ian, by any means. It's like, do you just give something to everybody and call it good, or do you take things away? But with the melee specifically, it does feel like there's 10 specs for so few spots. So maybe that's an overall thing with ranged being just more beneficial.
That's really what it boils down to. I mean, yeah, one of the things we're hesitant to go back down the road of is spec specific utility, where it's like this particular spec of a class brings a unique benefit that makes people feel like they need to respec or should, go as that thing. It's more about, class level utility that we're trying to emphasize. And druids have tons of great utility. It's just that it feels like it's so often better provided by, let's say, your moonkin currently. And that's a little bit of a, broader spec balance issue. But a lot of this just comes down to how many slots are seen as viable for melee in raids. I think it was interesting. It's an interesting discussion. Getting back to that Max video I mentioned earlier, like he kind of took it as a given that there's like 5 melee spots, right? You have 14 DPS, you basically have 5 melee and 9 ranged, and then within that, this is the calculus. Like we need to raise that number, and one of the questions that we're asking ourselves in discussion among the combat team and the encounter team is, how can we make it the right answer to bring 7, ideally 8 melee? Right? If you have 14 DPS, bring 7 of each. Right? Why isn't that the starting point, and then you tweak it one way or the other? And in that world, it'd be much easier to justify a much more diverse raid composition. Right? I think that currently it feels like, oh, you can't possibly justify more than 1 rogue, but meanwhile you have 3 mages over there, or 3 warlocks, or 3 hunters, and you don't think anything of it. And so that's the angle we're trying to tackle this from. But
just be wary of listing to Zoomers like Max, because
I know.
They're all over the place, these youngins.
But yeah, it's getting back to the general topic of utility. I think we're happy with the things, with what things like AMZ or Death Grip or Stampeding Roar or whatever bring to the raid. The strongest raid should be a diverse one with all classes represented, and we can create situations where those classes and specs get to shine, get to have their hero moments, where you're building your strat around, okay, the priest is going to go over here and life grip the tank across the gap or whatever else. Like, we want those tools to exist and be special. And so it's just a question of, again, as always, finding a middle ground and navigating the competing pressures from all sides.
Okay. We've only got a couple of minutes, so I'm going to do a couple of questions that people desperately want me to ask. How do you feel the AoE cap is working out overall in terms of Mythic Plus? Do you think it was a good idea, or is there some room for maneuver there? Because it does feel pretty horrible. If certainly even everybody from Transmoggers to high Mythic Pluses do feel kind of awkward with the way the AoE cap is actually implemented.
Yeah, I mean, there's definite room for continued evolution there. I mean, certainly for legacy content farming and things like that. That's not really the point. This wasn't a new design. In many ways, this was going back to how abilities like Whirlwind and other things have traditionally worked. I think the way Mythic Plus, there's a lot that we're talking about, in terms of the dynamic of Mythic Plus in general. Certainly, there's this feedback loop of uncapped AoE.
The Holy Paladin news
so potentially strong if you can do giant pulls.
I keep thinking about the Holy Paladin stuff.
Dungeons is to do giant
It's fucking
pulls,
huge
but
what
then
you just
also
said, man.
You can't survive face tanking.
It's actually
pulls.
fucking
So now
huge.
the way to tank is to kite everything. There's this kind of general feedback loop there.
Like,
we still hold to the goal of.
That's the biggest thing that came out of this whole thing. The Holy Paladin.
At 4 target.
That's the biggest thing that came out.
2 target cleat. People who excel at more traditional 10 target AoE or whatever else. And I think we're moving in the right direction, but we have a lot of work still to do. And certainly a world where uncapped AoE is still king, but only a handful of people get it is not where we want to end up.
No, the scaling gets pretty wacky on that very quickly. Very, very quickly. One last question for you. What is World Quest 2.0? Because I know it sounds very mean.
He hinted at Holy
Very
Paladins
confused.
basically being ranged healers.
And I couldn't think of a
He
single
hinted at
reason
the
to
fact
do
that being melee and
quests
using
or
your
callings.
GCDs to use Crusader Strikes and Judgments
it was very
being
off-putting.
an option should be an optional gameplay.
Was that like something that
and
didn't
should
get
not be
explored
the
fully
best
in
way to play
development
Holy
and it's more to
Paladin.
come there? Or was the idea just for less but longer?
And then talking about healer damage and Mistweavers as well.
Not really fewer
Like,
so much as I think one of the
That's
biggest
fucking huge.
things that has to do with the place or lack thereof of world class.
Huge. What he just said is absolute. That's the only thing that I actually care about out of the whole
For the
interview.
return of that, but
Is
it
the
always
Holy
felt like,
Paladin.
going back to Legion, that was the
comment that he
primary
made.
reason. Like in Legion, you needed world quests for artifact power from your emissary cache as well, and early on for legendaries and the chance at legendaries.
Are
from
they
your emissary.
like? Are they
VFA
bringing
was
Holy
pretty similar.
Paladin
If you were
ranged
trying to
back,
get AP, you'd clear the map.
or at
It's
least giving the
right
same
now, the best way to
options
get
as
Anima, that is
Mistweaver?
pretty much an entirely optional system, and
Mhm.
some folks engage with it, some folks don't. Our goal with changing world quests to add, I mean, to make them longer, add multiple stages to some of them, was actually to shift the ratio of doing content time to travel time. And
Okay.
if because it felt like by late BFA especially, world quests were like, I spend 85% of my time traveling from place to place, and like 15% of my time, okay, killing this one mob or rounding up these things and quickly clicking them and then moving on to the next space.
Mhm.
And the goal was just, hey, more time not on your mount, using your class abilities, playing the game. But we agree that where we've landed, the rewards loop is not one that is really terribly satisfying or rewarding for a ton of people. 9-1 offers a chance.
Because I really think the Holy Paladin
change
rock
that to
map
some
in line
extent
with
going
other
forward.
healers with ranged talents but
But
less
as we evaluate
damage
the
while
role of
maintaining the
world
current high
quests,
risk, high
we
damage
want-
possibility. Yeah, dude, he mentioned that in one
we
sentence.
want depth and variety, but
Come
also
on, it's
a
all
reason for
interpretation
people
at
to
this
do them
point.
that isn't
He literally
just
only
an
said
API.
it for 1 or 2 sentences. But
Okay.
it,
If I could leave on a teaser, one
from
of
the
best
way that I
features
thought,
I've had in World of
it's.
Warcraft for a
I'm
long
gonna
time was the
rewatch
Mage
it because
Tower.
that's
It
the
gets
most
brought up in
important
every
part. I
interview
think I'm
you
gonna
have,
rewatch it.
I'm sure. But 9.2, you mentioned there's some pretty huge things on the horizon there. Are we looking to that? Because I also remember, to clarify the scene, is I remember how miserably it was initially received. Because so many players just couldn't do the Mage Tower until the Tomb of Sargeras gear catch-up caught up. But then it became overwhelmingly popular. Is there anything that there's a solo adventure, a solo challenge that people can plug away at, work at, something like that, that isn't Choreghast, which, like you said earlier, is designed to be won? Is there something like that in the works? Not a repeat, obviously, but something like that?
Nothing exactly like the Mage Tower in the near term, but we share your love for it and the community's affection for it, and it's something that we want to find another place for. Some of it is also the idea for the Mage Tower actually started from the rewards. Like, we had these artifact appearances that were incredible that we wanted to give out. We wanted to come up with a way to give them out. And so we had, hey, you get this one from doing organized raid content. You get this one from doing PvP. What if we have one that's all about solo achievement? And I think we need something that makes that like a carrot is kind of a carrot on a stick is kind of a crappy phrase for it, but it's like, what's the thing that's so exciting that makes you want to persevere, that makes you want to go through all of that learning, all of that progression, and make it feel worthwhile in the end? And when we have something like that to give out, I think a Mage Tower like system is pretty much at the top of our list for the kind of thing we would want to build.
So it's more a case of you're looking for the report, that you're looking for an appropriate reward rather than not building it. Okay, that's interesting. Would you welcome suggestions from all these people about something that may be good?
Yeah, I mean, and I see in chat, and some of it is also not necessarily global either. I saw in chat some mentions of like Green Fire for Warlocks. That was another great example, right? That turned into a solo challenge for people because we had something cool we wanted to give out, and we built something around it. That's something we want to continue to do, and it may not be for everybody. It might be for one class, but it's more we can do.
That's superb. I want to thank you for your time again, Ian. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, likewise. Always fun chatting.
Soon we should be able to actually, see each other. IRL.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I think I still owe you a beer from the last time. But it should be
Sounds
good.
like a plan. Hopefully a real BlizzCon at some point in the not too distant
that would
future.
be good. Yeah, BlizzCon Line didn't quite have the same feeling to it. That's for sure. But thank you very much. So 9.1 is next month, yes?
What's the calendar right now? 9.1 is soon TM. Honestly, it's when it's ready, right? We know everybody is, has been very patient, is very hungry for new content of all types, want to get it out into your hands as quickly as possible, but it needs to be great. So
yeah, that's
we'll get it there.
Okay, excellent. Thank you
Next
very
year,
much, Ian.
boys.
I will leave you there. Thank you to everybody who
2022,
tuned in for the
when
interview.
patch
Thank you very much.
9.1 is gonna
good.
be
Take care.
coming
Bye-bye.
out next year.
Right.
Dude, who said
Oh,
August?
let me put
August is
myself
the
over here for 1
earliest it's gonna
second,
come
team.
out.
Hopefully I didn't let you down.
August is the earliest coming out. December, boys. December. I wanna replay the part about the Paladin because I wanna hear it again.
Questions that people desperately want me to ask. How do you feel the AoE cap is working out?
Down to how as such, it's something we need to make adjustments.
Right.
Times as much work as a Holy Paladin and getting absolute.
Mechanics that you otherwise wouldn't be able to player. I think, yeah, this is definitely something.
This is the part that I want to hear again.
Solutions can be easier said than done without gutting specs or existing playstyles in the middle of a tier or in the middle of. I think being
right
that we're discussing.
Yeah, this is the part that I want to hear again.
Solutions can be easier said than done without gutting specs or existing playstyles in the middle of a tier or in the middle of an expansion. But I think both Holy Paladin and Disc Priest are obviously discussed a lot, and the big factor is healer. It's not just healer DPS; it's free healer DPS. Effectively, I think being able to trade off between damage done and throughput is interesting. We obviously want people to be able to solo as healers, do things like Choreghast as healers if they want. And in situations where there isn't significant HPS needed, doing damage is a way that you contribute, and that's a mark of a skilled player. I think the tricky part is when your optimal healing throughput also gives you a bunch of damage. Disc was designed around that, and the trick there on our end is, and we've been more or less successful at this at times, often less successful, dialing in Disc throughput so that they are useful, often invaluable, but not all around the best without weaknesses. When they are topping healing meters and also contributing the damage they do, that's a big problem. Things like reining in Spirit Shell and the rest of their kit is trying to move a little bit in that direction, both in 905 and 91, where a Holy Priest should give more overall throughput consistently. But when you bring a Disc Priest, well, their absorbs can be truly irreplaceable if they let you survive mechanics that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. And then, of course, their damage is their damage, while still giving them enough throughput to be able to manage a dungeon or other content if they need to. Holy Paladin is a bit of a different case, where I think they are a larger problem. Some of that is, some of it's Ashen Verdict stuff, but I think it's also that one of many playstyle that is one of many has become kind of the default and the highest throughput playstyle. Having the option to spend the fight in melee range, spending a third of your GCDs on like Crusader Strike and Judgment, that should be an option for a Holy Paladin. But the fact that it's the best way to play a Holy Paladin, I think, is not ideal.
That's crazy,
and
dude.
If you had to trade off healing throughput to do that damage, that would be a better space for the spec as a whole. And again, none of this is about
it's having trade off what?
Making Holy bad, or that would be a better space for the spec to trade off for a Holy Paladin. But the fact that it's the best way to play a Holy Paladin, I think, is not ideal. And if you had to trade off healing throughput to do that damage, that would be a better space for the spec as a whole. And again, none of this is about
having to trade off healer throughput to do that damage. So is he implying that ranged would be the highest throughput but less damage, and staying in melee would be way less throughput but way more damage? So that's the whole point that he wants to put across. He doesn't want melee to be the best HPS and the best DPS. That's what I'm getting from it. That's what I'm getting from it right now. With that one sentence.
About making Holy bad or nerfing them as healers. It's having them make more of the same choices that other healers have to make when it comes to damage or healing, not just free damage as I'm healing.
Yeah, it's just something I know has become a much bigger deal year on year. And there are certain classes, like playing Mistweaver, you can talent fully into doing melee healing, yet you feel like you're doing 10 times as much work as a Holy Paladin and getting absolutely nothing for it, while weaving in procs and things like that. And those guys just feel like, what's the point? You know, if I'm going to have to compete against this level of thing.
Yeah, agreed. Right. And I think we've seen it become more and more prominent because I think community sophistication continues to improve and people, value this more and more. I think the mark of a good healer of other specs is weaving in damage when you have empty GCDs. It's not just about your HPS, it's about what damage you can do. And so the couple of specs that excel in both regards are rightly, considered as such. It's something we need to make adjustments for.
Okay. Another big concern that I had from the Raider friends was obviously the effect of raid cooldowns, individual buffs. This covers a lot of ground, Ian. This is from P.
I've been disconnected. Okay, I think I'm gonna make a video on that. So I don't know how long we're gonna be playing. I think that's pretty much the biggest juicer news that I could have. I think it's actually bigger news than I expected, if I'm being completely honest. Because I didn't think they were gonna go that way. If I'm being completely honest, I didn't think they were gonna change up, or from the looks of it, they were gonna change up Holy Paladin completely. What missives for Holy Priest Legendary? Depends on what you wanna. What the fuck? Depends on what you wanna do, I guess. I went for, I think was Crit Haste for Mythic Plus. It's interesting, man. It's actually way more information that I was gonna cover about. I didn't think they were gonna have a completely new. I didn't think they were gonna have a completely question about healer DPS. That was fucking really fucking awesome, man. To see healer DPS being an aspect of a conversation when looking at the patch as a whole. I think this would make for a juicer discussion. Back to the juicer music. The way I gathered is that the way I gathered from that one sentence, again, this is all predictions, all you have time is prediction. The way I gathered from that sentence is that they want ranged Holy Paladin to be they want Holy Paladin to have multiple playstyles. That's what I got it, because they say like, hey, how did this playstyle that should be one of many became the #1 thing where you stay in melee and do the most damage and the most healing? And they're saying there should be one of many playstyles. So range build, I think, is very fucking likely to come back from that sentence. I think if you look at that whole thing, I think there is going to be a range Holy Paladin build. The way that it comes across is that he wants multiple builds to be coming, and the way that I interpret it is that he doesn't want a single build to be the best at DPS and healing. And his example, Ian's example, was that melee build, you're gonna sacrifice throughput to do more damage, which actually kind of makes sense, to be honest. You're going into DPS mobs, but I think what Ian is trying to accomplish with the range build is that if you don't want to go into the range, if you don't want to go into the melee and do damage, you'll be rewarded with higher throughput. Interesting. I'm trying to comprehend as well. I mean, he was really confident about it. Yeah, I think they're trying to do a Mistweaver path where you can. I think this will make for a juicer discussion video. I think this would I'm a little mind blown about this. I just thought they were just gonna. I literally thought they were just gonna nerf Ashen, if I'm being completely honest. I think they were just gonna nerf Ashen. He also said he don't want to change classes completely in the middle of expansion. But yeah, then he comes across this. I'm kind of shocked, man. I'm kind of shocked, dudes. I'm not gonna lie, man. It kind of threw me for the loop. I was really not expecting that. Like, I knew they were trying to make range build viable with some of the changes with Resplendent Light. Some of the changes with Resplendent Light and things like that. They were trying to make a range build a thing. But most people were assuming it's just that they were over-calculating it or something along those lines. And it kind of died out because it was just better to be in melee, but it kind of brings back validity. They were trying to bring range build. Yo, Zosu, thank you for the 9 months, dude! Look at the lights! They were trying to bring the range build. They just didn't calculate it properly. They just didn't do the proper calculations. So is Ashen build a mistake like Glimmer? Like, did they completely misjudge Ashen and like like is Holy Paladin as a class just a fucking mistake, dude? Like, that's what it makes me think. Like, Glimmer was a mistake. Maybe they overcalculated everything with it. Yo, Kalinix, how are you today, man? What are your thoughts on the interview? I thought it was a good interview. I thought the questions were asked were pretty solid. I don't think a whole lot of new information came out. I thought the healer DPS section was the most interesting, but maybe I'm biased towards it. I think everything else besides the class tier sets everything else was kind of known already by a previous interview, with the exception of healer DPS. So in general, I think the amount of new news came out. If the healer DPS section wasn't there, I think it would have been a pretty bad interview in terms of new information, because there was literally no new information that really came about. Like, everything was kind of covered in the interview that was done on the Asian side. So there was nothing new except for the healer DPS thing, except for the Holy Paladin thing. Like, literally the only thing that I really was like shocked by the Holy Paladin thing, man. Like, that's about it. And user Mistweaver, they kind of covered Mistweavers and how much effort they need to put into being melee, and Ian acknowledged that. So I'm assuming there's going to be Paladin buffs. I'm assuming there's going to be Paladin buffs, man. I don't know. They acknowledged that it was harder to play a Mistweaver, or they could just nerf Holy Paladin and say Mistweaver is fine. What was said on Holy Paladins? I already replayed it twice on the stream. I don't want to be replaying it all the time because I'm probably going to do a video on it. But generally speaking, what they said is that they were surprised they don't want a single aspect of Holy Paladin gameplay, which is stay in melee, to produce the highest HPS and the highest damage. That's the way I gathered it. And they want more options for Holy Paladin gameplay, aka range build. And the way that he said it is that if you lose healing throughput by staying in melee and doing damage, that's fine. So if you stay ranged and you get more healing throughput, I'm assuming that's what they want to achieve. I'm assuming that they want a range build to be the highest throughput build and a melee build to be a DPS build for Paladin. And they don't want one build to be the best at both, healing or DPS. So this kind of brings back the whole point of, in beta, Holy Paladins, there was a range build emerging with things like Resplendent Light, there was a range build emerging and people weren't sure if Blizzard wants a range build to be viable. But now we can see from that comment is that Blizzard did want a range build to be an option. They did want Holy Paladins to have an option to go ranged or melee. And I'm assuming, prediction-wise, is that they're gonna try and do that for 9.1. A ranged and melee build. But I don't know how they're gonna make it, like... how significant of a HPS drop are we talking about if you're going into melee? How significant of a HPS boost are we talking about if you're staying ranged? This is huge, man. This is absolutely huge. It feels really big. I think I'm actually gonna make a video on this. I wasn't expecting this. I was kind of blown. I was kind of like, I didn't think it was gonna be that big. Because today I wasn't gonna. There's nothing to do for me today in terms of like, there's no reset on Europe, and I was gonna do a video if there's something gonna come out really juicy, based on the interview, and it did, man. The Holy Paladin is giga news, man. I just thought they were gonna nerf. He kind of hinted about nerfing Ashen. He kind of hinted at nerfing Ashen, so I just thought they were gonna nerf Ashen. That's it, and just gonna leave it at the way it is. But it feels like there's going to be more changes. Like it's a really interesting take. I'm also expecting Paladin buffs, man. I'll be honest with you. I'll also be expecting Paladin buffs. Fine, goodbye. Who should look in your vault? I'm gonna do the video. I think I'm gonna do the video. I'll be honest with you. I think I'm gonna do the video, guys. I think it was a pretty juicer take on the Paladins. I think I'm gonna shoot the video and announce it for tomorrow and upload it tomorrow morning. And tomorrow we're gonna be doing like tomorrow is the big stream, man. Tomorrow is the raid, tomorrow is the reset, good affixes for a change, pushing some content, doing some content. I didn't think I was gonna make a video, if I'm honest with you, because a lot of the interview stuff was not new to me. Except for that part, man. Fucking hell, dude. Don't they just stream when I come online? I'll do Dean's here. I gotta say goodbye. No, but for real, I'm gonna go do a video. I'm gonna go examine a bit more and shoot the video. It's gonna be like a discussion-based video. Because I was really not expecting this. Before I'm gonna fall asleep. And we're gonna do a big stream tomorrow. Stream tomorrow is the big stream, man. We're probably gonna be pushing some Mythic Plus as well with the Paladin. I would really like to have an option to embrace the event. The Holy Paladin plays a high risk, high reward instead of gutting it. I mean, they could just make like, I don't know. Maybe they could just make Crusader Strike cost a shitloads of mana or something. I don't know. Maybe they'll make like Ventier like do very little healing. They could just do that. They could just say like, hey, Ashen Hollow does like no healing whatsoever. It's just damage. That could be a thing that they think about. But that's not gonna solve the issue. And then they're probably gonna buff something like, my expectation, they're gonna buff something like Resplendent Light or something. Like Ashen Hollow do 0 healing and Resplendent Light buffed. So now if you're going into melee and doing damage and you pick Ashen Hollow, you're gonna be doing a lot of damage, but your healing output is going to be really weak. You know what I mean? That could be a solution that they might think about. Like there were people at the start of BFA, at the start of Shallons, at the start of the whole thing. With Resplendent Light, you might be just staying in ranged and just using your holy lights on people. Because it would be so, like, that might be a thing. That might be a thing coming back. Excited for changes, how they make it good changes, because as a PvP and PvP noob, I was kind of excited to get into PvE mythic. Just make glory and light don't cost mana, and the class is instantly balanced. Just make my Shaman. I really thought I have an option to embrace winter holy penalty playstyle. This is really interesting. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is. Do I have? I don't have dummies on this character, do I? No, I don't have dummies on this. This is a lot more interesting than I thought it was gonna be, if I'm being very honest. Anyways, guys, I'm literally gonna go make a video right now. I'm gonna go make a video and gonna look into it. I really appreciate everyone coming in, coming in on the stream, and the gifters, man. I thought it was pretty fucking exciting, man. I genuinely thought it was really exciting with the news. It'll be too bad they didn't mention when they're going to release it, which. But you know, you never know how it's gonna work out. You never know how it's gonna work out. You never know how it's gonna work out. Anyways, guys, we're gonna make a video about this, boys. I hope you all gonna have a wonderful, wonderful day. Everything's going to be revealed in the video. Probably going to schedule for tomorrow morning, guys. Probably gonna schedule for tomorrow morning. Maybe actually gonna schedule it a bit earlier than tomorrow morning, because I think it's pretty exciting. Or maybe we're just gonna schedule for tomorrow morning, I think. Anyways, take it easy, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow for a Giga stream. Tomorrow's a Giga stream. We're not gonna end it early or anything like that. What the fuck? We're not gonna end it early. Let's go, guys. Bye.